We'll count. All right. Hi, Ardent. How you doing? I don't know if you're still here. All right. Oh, excuse me. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Oh, I don't even have it set up correctly. Here we go. We put this here, put that there, and then we do this one. I was watching videos there. So, classic video. Classic video. Now, let me just tell everybody I'm live on Twitter at least. Oh, man, I am really bungling this. Just watching Sticks. Let's see. I got to go to my channel. How do I get to my channel? View your channel. There we go. And we'll view what I'm doing now. Get the link. Okay, shut up me. And then we'll drop it on X. We're doing it live. Okay, I'm live. Ah, Dead Souls is here. I'm gonna adjust my mic. Dead Souls, how you doing? Did you see what happened last night? Because I didn't. Oh, wow. That is some kind of record. I said as I was, I start to stream, and you're not going to see, like, the first 20 seconds of the stream. And I said to Joan, I wonder how many minutes it's going to take before we're already talking about Trump. I did not see it live, but I did see what, almost immediately after. I think I saw it, well, actually not immediately. About 2 hours after I was looking at the videos, maybe. Something like that. I got a text from one of my relatives saying bad things had happened to Trump. I got to be careful what I say on YouTube. And so where the hell was I? Oh, I was over my girlfriend's house. And she made me a very nice dinner. Thank you, baby. And I got the message, and then I flipped on the news instinctually. I said, oh, we got to turn on the news, not even realizing what I was saying. And then the moment she turned it on, I was like, oh, wait, the news is useless. I forgot. So then I started going to X and started looking up the actual news, at least on X. And almost immediately, somebody said the shooter was an Antifa guy. Now, this hasn't been 100% confirmed, but there was an Antifa guy who looks like the dude and apparently has a similar name on an Instagram account. So he may be Antifa. Dead Souls. People keep talking about it, and I'm just like, yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. I had no idea what they were talking about. Oh, okay. So, yeah, Trump, there was an bad thing happened to Trump. An attempted bad thing. And he was giving a speech, and it like clipped his ear. So during the speech, this dude somehow, and it sounds pretty fantastical if you ask me, but he somehow got an enormous ladder, put it up the side of a building, climbed up the building, got to the roof of the only building basically in the radius that would be outside the rally that would be perfect for this. Like, why there wasn't a sniper on that roof to avoid that, I don't know. I mean, it was literally the only rooftop outside the venue that should have been monitored. And so people saw it in the crowd and started screaming at the cops to do something. They described the cops as being like, oh, whoa, oh. Literally describing the cops as being just bungling and not knowing what to do. Indy Phantom is here. This is scarily similar to the 70s flick 2-Minute Warning. Oh, God, it's been ages. What do you want, Joan? We're talking about important things. Come here. You bailing on me already? Your cute little face gives people solace and hope. But if they knew you, they would have no hope with your poop. Dead souls. Oh, dang. I hope he's okay. He is fine. He just got injured in the ear. And then, so it grazed him. The pew grazed him. And then he went down. And everybody thought the worst. I was watching the clip going, oh my God, please no. The Secret Service sort of climbed on top of him, as they do. And like a few more shots went off. A guy in the crowd did get killed. Another guy got injured. But by some miracle, Trump turned his head at the last second. Now, there was one report, but this is from the mainstream media, that said it wasn't actually a bullet, that it hit the teleprompter or the bulletproof glass somehow, and then it was actually glass that cut him, or the bulletproof glass. I don't think so. That seems not to be true. But this guy was on the roof. People were shouting about him. The counter sniper had him in his sights, my understanding, and held off for several minutes, trying to get permission. It wasn't until he actually fired his pew that he got permission and finally took the guy out. Indy Phantom. I heard that the Dems are backing away and will likely let Biden take the fall. Like Reagan, Trump will have a huge win this time. So sad and miraculous. Yeah, it really is miraculous. There's a picture of Trump with the pew ammo sailing past him, like a millisecond after it went off. Dead souls. So basically, almost Kennedy incident happened. Yes. But to Trump. Yes. But he is fine now, and he is going to the RNC, and there is many scandals coming out of it. LeMay is here. Hi. Storbang is here. Very sad for Corey Kempertone. I think I'm saying that's right. He was the guy who was killed in the crowd. He was a Trump supporter, and he got killed in the crowd, and there are many leftists saying disgusting things about him. Guy was totally innocent. The people saying stuff about that guy, you people are idiots. You people are disgusting. That guy was just in the crowd. Indy Phantom. Hard not to suspect this was an intentional lapse in security. The pics of Trump are the most iconic ever. They certainly are. They certainly are. And yes, to your first point. There are many things going on. First thing was that they held off so long. Seemed to be very straightforward. I mean, how does a guy get this close to a presidential candidate with a long rifle? How does he do that on the only roof that's really viable for this sort of thing? Makes no sense. Why would you hold off 2 to 3 minutes? The guy's crawling towards the edge of the roof with a gun. He's clearly not one of your guys. Are you trying to confirm that he's not one of your guys? You must have known ahead of time if anybody would be on that roof. If the answer was no, I just would have pulled the trigger without permission. Who the hell would care? Who the hell would care in the aftermath of that? What do you think? It was a maintenance guy with a gun? A maintenance guy crawling along? Well, I better keep my head down. Bull. They would have told every business in a 10-mile radius the president is coming. Don't do anything stupid on the roof of your place. Dead souls. It's good that he's okay. That must have been really scary. It was pretty scary. But the amazing thing was when he stood up after he was injured, and after like a bunch of shots went off, and then they finally took the guy out. Then Trump stood up with the Secret Service sort of protecting him, although the women really dropped the ball on this. I'll get into that in a minute. And I'm not being a pig. I'm not being a sexist pig here, but the female Secret Service agents way in over their head. Clearly. Watch the video yourself. I would have done a better job. With no training, I would have done a better job. They were just confused. They couldn't get their weapons out. They didn't know where to put them back. They didn't know where to look. They had their sunglasses off. Like, clownish. Ladies, something needs to be done. And I think the DEI hire nearly got Donald Trump axed. But he stands up and he puts his fist up and he starts yelling, "Fight, fight," to the audience. And the crowd goes wild. And then there's a shot of Trump doing that. And the iconic thing that Indy Phantom's talking about in the background. I think I could probably find it on here on Twitter. Let's see. If you haven't seen it, it's an amazing picture. Let's see. It's got to be on here. People have been tweeting it all day. Ignore the leftist propaganda, please. There's Trump being injured. Here's the footage. I mean, it's all over Twitter. It's all over. How is this picture not around? See, there's the injury. Just like grazed his ear. God. I mean, they've been tweeting it all day. It's probably suppressed somehow. Oh, Jesus. Wrong thing. Hold on, I'll find it. Indy Phantom. RNC will be quite something. I think more truth will be revealed in the JFK day than in the JFK days. Yes. Dead Souls. Why does it seem staged? It's not staged. How could it be staged? Think about that for a second. Think about how you would do it. Who would you trust to shoot you in the ear from... Oh, here it is. There we go. Look at that picture. Look at that picture. That's an amazing picture. This secret service agent, she kind of wasn't on the ball, I think. I don't think any of them were really on the ball, but the women look particularly clownish in the video of him getting in the car. It probably seems staged to some people because it's just so fantastic. I mean, it's not every day a president gets pew-pewed. And certainly not like this. I mean, he was very lucky. And if you're talking about, the idea that this could be set up in such a way that he would be nicked and, he would be nicked by a bullet but not killed. I mean, you're talking about a couple of inches the wrong way and he's dead. Who would take that risk? That insane risk. Do you know what the odds are of being able to make that shot? Not good when a guy's moving around talking as Trump does. It's a freaking miracle he wasn't killed. So the idea that it was staged is just silly. Come on. People are saying that. Leftoids are saying that all over Twitter. They want to believe that because they know what happens next. He wins the election. Indy Phantom. Also moving roof to roof, only 150 yards away. Most conspicuous. Yes. Dead Souls. It's almost like the Texas school pew-pew that happened where the cops didn't do anything for like over an hour or some until most people were hurt and then they did something. Yeah, I mean, look. They want Trump gone. I wouldn't be surprised if they had this guy on their radar, which is what the FBI always says, and they were pushing him. They probably supplied him weapons and left the door open for him. That's what you do. And then you say, oh my God, I don't know what happened. Oh, it must have been a lapse in security. Storebang, the snipers were told to stand down when they spotted the shooter, but no one in Secret Service alerted the stage to take cover. Yeah, and that's another big lapse in security. It's bull. It's bull. It's lapse in security that was on purpose, in my view. Indie Phantom, DEI is freaking dangerous. It certainly is. Look, I'm sure there's a handful of women who could do this job, but when you force a DEI quota of 30% women in the Secret Service and then you lower the bar just to get a few more in, this is what happens. This is what happens. This is what's happening in the military. This is what's happening all over corporate America. It's insane. DEI should be abolished and made illegal. Anybody who suggests it should be immediately fired. All DEI staff should be fired. All departments should be cleaned out because they're useless. They cost a lot of money for nothing. You get nothing, literally nothing out of them. Hopefully, Trump gets back in office and all this stuff goes away. LeMay, I'm seeing so many Secret Service job ads on Indeed. Really? Thumbnails on YouTube. Crazy. Indie Phantom. These things are surreal, so sometimes feel staged. But this looked scarily real to me. Yeah, there's no way Trump's in on it. I mean, come on. Guy's a billionaire. He's like, oh yeah, I'll trust you not to shoot me. Who would say that? Billionaire certainly ain't gonna say it. You think he's gonna take that kind of risk? No, they want him gone. People in the deep state or whatever you want to call it, they want him gone, and they're trying. Look, they tried to do lawfare. That didn't work. They tried everything in the media to smear him. Didn't work. Nothing will work except, And they nearly did it. This was a history-defining moment. J13, as they're calling it. And, the Democrats who come out and say, oh, political violence, I don't know who suggested that. They've been suggesting it for, 8 years or so. Almost 8 years at this point. Maxine, Crazy Legs, Maxine Waters. You push back on them. You push back. What? That's not supposed to mean violence when you push back on someone? Joan's on the floor in a different bed. I don't know why she doesn't want to be on the show tonight. She's sulking, I think, because we didn't go out. So then if you see the video of the Secret Service ladies trying to get Trump into the car, here's one. Here's a Secret Service lady ducking down. That's not her job. That is a huge fail. That is a huge fail. You're supposed to be taking a bullet for Trump, not hiding behind him. I don't know. Here's this counter snipers who were holding their position. Here's the guy who supposedly did it. Indie Phantom. This was their last shot, so to speak. Day before Biden was completely unhinged, attacking Trump in every way. Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can say about that is who the hell listens to Biden anymore? But some people, look, that's another iconic shot of Trump. I mean, each one's more iconic than the next. How about this guy? Remember this guy? Democrats tried to strip Trump's Secret Service protections just months before his assassination attempt. It's from Donald Trump Jr. That is legit. Here's blood on the bleachers. I mean, it just is... What a mess. But there's a video of them scrambling Trump into the SUV. And I can't find it. And in the process, you see the female... Oh, here's another iconic shot. There's Trump saying, fight, fight, fight. So they're trying to get him in the SUV, and the female agents look completely lost. They look to be in a panic. There's 3 of them. They're looking around. They're trying to get him in the car. It's and you could tell by their movements they're frantic. They are not acting like professionals. They should all be fired. I would say that if it was men, but it's more... Again, it's not like there aren't some professional women who could do this job, but they are few and far between. You're talking about somebody who probably has some military experience and, you know, very cool under pressure. There are some women like that. There's not a lot, though. Not 30% of all women. Dead souls. I'm surprised the guy that did it wasn't recording it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he did, we'll probably never know because the FBI is taking over and they're locking down everything. Because if they had anything to do with it, oh, they'll be scrubbing that from his browser history, I'm sure. Oh, emails to the FBI. Oh, delete. Yeah. So the counter sniper finally shot him, like after he got off 5 or 6 shots, blew him away, and Trump ushered away by some frightened women and a handful of regular security agents. And then he went to the hospital, and after he was doing fight, and then the various pictures, and then he goes to the hospital, and they said, oh, he's fine, and he was checked out. So that's good. He's probably got stitches in his ear, and now he's going to the RNC with stitches. Dead souls. Most things people do on a live stream now, like the Buffalo one. I don't think I saw that one, but I did see one that was utterly insane. It was 3 teenagers in a car chase with the cops. And then the final moments of it, they either crashed or they got cornered in a park, and they abandon the car, and they're running with the phone, and they start saying on the live stream, call my grandmother to get us out of jail or something like that. It was ridiculous. And eventually they got arrested, and it was just the most insane thing I ever saw. But yeah, I mean, if there's a live stream of it, I guess we would have already known about it, because then it would have been live. But if he had live streamed it, that would have been even more of a reason to shoot him. So maybe he was at least that smart. But if he had recorded it and didn't upload it yet, we'll never see that. We'll never see it. I can't believe he got this close. I think he had help. I don't think there's any way you can conclude he didn't have help. Either that or the Secret Service are completely incompetent, and Trump should just do all his own security from this point on. Should just triple the number of guys and tell the Secret Service to go pound sand, because they're doing the exact opposite of their job at this point, endangering him. Dead souls. I saw the whole Buffalo incident on cam, and the guy saw a white guy and said, "You're fine," and then left him alive and walked away. Oh, I'm not sure what you're talking about now. I thought you meant one where they were taking pictures of the buffalo, and then the buffalo kind of charged them, and I don't know, knocked a dude over or girl over or something, but they ran away. They eventually scrambled to their feet and got in the car. But I think you're talking about something else. Was he killed? Sounds like he was killed. But this is one thing that came out of it. This dude is no more feeling nervous wearing, this is his Make America, or Keep America Great hat. No more feeling nervous wearing this in public. If he can take a bullet for me, I can show my support for him. So this is the turn everybody's feeling right now, which is why leftoids are so out of their minds with anger and hate. The moral high ground is gone for the left. It's utterly evaporated. Donald Trump now has the moral high ground, and there's no way to argue otherwise. None. Dead souls. It was the Buffalo supermarket one. Oh. It's the Buffalo supermarket in Buffalo, New York. Oh, I thought you were talking about a completely different video. So this was like a shooting, you're saying. Yeah, no, I didn't see that. I don't seek out those videos typically. Yeah, I don't want to say it. See, they're saying here, staged, Trump not fit to be president. There's still a lot of psyops, a lot of leftoids, and a lot of just robots on Twitter. They can't seem to get rid of them. But again, this is the mindset now. It's all turning against the Democrats, and they have pushed so hard for so long. And look, they have propaganda, they have influence, but they're destroying it to win one election. To win one. They practically destroyed it in 2020. Whatever's left, they're just destroying. They're done. I said this, God, 5 or 6 years ago. I think the Democratic Party is going away. I think it's going to collapse. You're going to have more and more leftoids that would be the only ones left. You know, the DSA will take over part of it, and that they ain't going to get any money. They're going to start a new one very soon. Maybe Hillary Clinton's still alive. Maybe she'll start it. It won't be good, but Indy Phantom, yeah, no more Orange Man. Bad hate can be tolerated. Their campaign is toast. Yeah, Orange Man, awesome, is what I'm saying now. Dead Souls, I accidentally ran into a supermarket video on Twitch. Oh, it thankfully got taken down. Oh my God. Yeah, that sounds gruesome. Yeah, so it's the big turn. Although, man, I still know people who will still say, I hate Trump, and terrible things. They still believe he's a dictator and all blah, blah, blah. But these people, again, a lot of them are very old. Most of the ones that I know who say this stuff, they are still, and I swear this is true, they are still reading newspapers and watching TV like it's 1975. In 1975, we watched TV and we read the newspaper. I mean, I didn't. I was 9, but I watched TV. And TV was the closest thing we had to the internet. And as near as we could tell at that time, that was mostly the truth. Journalism, television journalism had some amount of credibility. Yeah, there were a few hardcore guys who'd say, oh, don't listen to the news, it lies to you. But we were in the bubble. Dead Souls, I don't hate or like anyone, so I'm not sure what you mean. You don't hate or like anyone? Oh, because you're a dead soul? Or you make it a joke? So, you know, we were in the bubble. What if they had control of the newspapers and television, and to a large extent the deep state did, that's about all you had to go by. I mean, you could do deep dives at the library if you wanted to read a bunch of books, and maybe after a few years of reading stuff, you might have a different insight, or you could go to different countries and meet people, and maybe on a particular issue. But that was very hard, and most people... Oh, Dead Souls, yes, okay. Dead Souls, it's a joke. Yeah, sorry, I'm changing gears, trying to read and make a point. So it was too time consuming. You couldn't process it. At the same time now, with the internet, it gives you the ability to consume a ton of information, but you're still not processing it very well. And there are people who claim to be, well, I'll process it for you and give you your take. So that's why you get a lot of narratives like what you should think about this upcoming election. Like they literally start the headlines that way. Dead Souls, I can't wait till I have kids and they see this stuff. What stuff? Oh, you're being sarcastic, I think. Yeah, keep your kids off the internet would be my advice for a good long time. You know, until they're like so ostracized from their peers, you have to let them look like an hour a day or something. And then monitor it carefully, and then it should be fine. But I have a lot of older relatives and a few friends who they're still reading, New York Times, and these media outlets that just, they have no credibility with me. I mean, zero. You know, I was never like a big New York Times guy in my lifetime, but you know, I knew the stories of the old gray lady, they called it, and a bit of the history. But even if you look at the history of the New York Times, you go back to like the Spanish Civil War, it wasn't exactly great. Dead souls. I probably won't let my kids have a phone until they are at least 15 or 16. It's going to be tough. Like, what you could do, and what I heard some parents do, is they give them a phone that it's like a low-tech phone. You can only do certain things with it. Like, you can't get on the internet, but you can, you know, you could do some basic things like you could do some texting, but very basic texting, and then you can make calls, which is all your kid. That's your kid's counter argument. I need it in case of an emergency. So you get them a phone that's so low tech, all they could do is make a call or text, and that's it, and then maybe receive them. But yeah. So they're just in the bubble. You know, propaganda is very powerful. It's very powerful. And people will say to me, because they disagree with me, oh, you're propagandized by Trump. And I'm like, you don't know anything about me. Dead souls, that's smart. People, you know, they say things. Politics is something that, you know, it's a third rail for a lot of people. They get very emotionally invested. Sorry. It's out all day in the sun. Oh, man. And they get very emotionally invested. And, oh, JEC is here. Hi, hi, hi. Guess what we're talking about? And they can't discuss rationally with you. And a lot of people have been, JEC, fight, fight, fight. Yes. Yes, we were just showing that picture. Indie Phantom. Yesterday morning, I turned on CNN because I've been enjoying the meltdowns. I thought it was very weird that they were going to cover the Trump rally live because they haven't been doing those for years. Oh, interesting. Interesting. CNN magically decided to cover it. I wonder if they got a hot tip that this was going to be a little different. How interesting that CNN suddenly decided to cover it. But, you know, a lot of people, they won't read the history of anything. I'm a big fan of history, as you know. And you don't have to read much. I mean, you just read the history of Operation Mockingbird, and it's like, oh, hey, that's not good. You know, it's not good the CIA decided to influence all the major media in the United States because they thought, oh, we don't want people to call for our budget to be cut or us to be defunded completely. So we'll take over the media and get everybody on board. And they basically did. They have undue influence in the media. They have people all at many different levels. And they're not all like, you know, Manchurian Candidate hypnotized. You don't have to do much. I mean, back in the 50s, you know, when it started, it was just like, oh, it's the Cold War. You don't want to help the commies, do you? And people would help, thinking they were helping. But later, it just became, hey, you want a scoop? Tell me, tell me the things or say the things we want you to say on the air, and we'll give you a big scoop, and your career will be made, and you'll make lots of money. Stuff like that. LeMay, if I have kids, they will only be allowed to use the internet for schoolwork. Good luck with that. I don't have any kids, but many of my relatives do. So, good luck to you. They said lots of things too. My friends did too. I had this one friend, he and his wife, you know, they were like the couple who liked to dress up. They dressed to the nines. You know, they had a beautiful house, and then, you know, they were having a great life. And then they had kids. And then Cut to a few years later, and my friend's in sweatpants, and he's got, at that point, I think he had 2 or 3 kids, and his kid, like, is dropping food on the floor off a paper plate. It's like hot dogs and cheese and crackers, and he's picking it up off the floor and eating it. So, yeah, people put up these lines in the sand, but when it comes to their kids, they quickly dissipate, I think. Indie Phantom. Yeah, I told my mom about it and said, JC, at this point, just give up. Obviously, God is on our side. You're just going to lose. I mean, it sure seems that way, I'm happy to say. LeMay. History is just old headline news. Yes, it is. But the tide is turning. I mean, it really is. And this, to me, encapsulates it, that now you can, like, for a long time, you couldn't go out with a MAGA hat without some dude maybe confronting you in a restaurant or, waitress spitting in your food or something. Now, people are going to do it. People are just going to say, you know what? Hello, I'm a Trump supporter. And good. Because, yeah, I have to admit, I was very nervous about it, too. I live in New Jersey, and it's a very blue state. And in South Jersey, people have very emotional reactions to Trump. And we have a long history with him, you have to understand. Trump was, when his cutthroat business days in the 80s, you think they were bad-mouthing him now. You should have seen it back in the 80s when he was running 2 or 3 casinos and building them. Because he was constantly in fights with the unions and other real estate guys. And we were constantly getting headlines back then, back in the 80s, about Trump. And they were not complimentary. And you hear stories, heard stories back in that era all the time about Trump doing something absolutely crazy to somebody who did business with. Like, just basically not paying them, just stiffing them. Are they true? Well, back then I believed them, because back then I believed newspapers. Now I look back on that and go, were any of them true? Were any of those true? Or was it part of some counter, narrative cooked up by the guys Trump was fighting with, and they just paid the newspaper to write certain, or paid the reporter certain articles that, played on Trump's reputation for being a cutthroat? Now I don't know what to think about that era. I think it's probably half true. I'm sure Trump screwed some people in business. I mean, I'd kind of be shocked if it turned out he never screwed anybody in business. But I also think the latter's probably true too. I think some of it's been exaggerated, and probably some of it was made up by rivals trying to get back at him and trying to change the narrative in their own way. But that doesn't change the fact that people in South Jersey, and a lot of them work for the casinos, didn't like Trump. Man, they did not like Trump when he first started running. Like, the visceral reaction started even before, he got elected and was a serious candidate. But now, a lot of them have changed their minds, but some of them haven't. And again, most of them are older. They're still in the bubble. They're still watching TV. And I tell my older relatives all the time, you can't get real information off of TV anymore. You can't get it from newspapers. Cancel all your subscriptions. But it's like they've been reading the newspaper every day for 50 years. It's a hard habit to break, I used to watch TV all the time. And I just told the story earlier how when this happened, my instinct was to turn on the TV news. And then the instant I did, I realized, oh, why am I doing this? I'm not going to get good information. And then I went to the phone. Indie Phantom. Robert De Niro's son is one of Trump's biggest real estate rivals in New York City for years. Well, that explains certain celebrities' hatred of Trump, doesn't it? I had no idea. I thought De Niro was all in the artist community because I think his dad was like a painter or something, right? I didn't realize his son was in real estate. That's like completely different. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. That explains a lot about De Niro's hatred for Trump. But again, I mean, I'm sure he's probably heard stories, some true, some not, about the Trump family. You know, there are different nasty ways you can do business. You know, most of us wouldn't do that, but you're talking about guys who work at a different level. Maybe sometimes you have to show who's boss, or you know, you just got to expect it in the world of New York real estate. It's pretty cutthroat. I mean, I wish that wasn't the case, but this is reality. You know? So, but what he did in his business and what he did as a politician are two different things. And that's part of the thing that a lot of people can't separate. In the world of politics, he didn't make his money there, so he doesn't really Trump doesn't seem to really have a vested interest in, you know, moving certain policies in his direction just to make money. That would seem petty and dumb. I mean, look at the amount of money Nancy Pelosi has made, and then compare that to what Trump's worth. It doesn't even compare. Pelosi's worth, and her husband together, are worth like, I don't know, 100 million, maybe a few $100 million. Trump's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. And so he's worth way more money than them. Way more. So what's he going to do? Is he going to do what Nancy Pelosi did? No. It's not even enough money to bother. They talked about like, oh, maybe Trump is doing a new hotel in Moscow. What's that going to bring him in? A couple $100 million? Maybe? Maybe? You know, in a country that we could be at war with, it doesn't sound like a good investment. But, and he's in his 70s. He doesn't care about money now. How much longer is he going to live? Maybe if he's super lucky, he lives to be 100, let's say. How amazing would that be, right? Trump at 100. And, you know, he's looking to cement a legacy. You don't cement a legacy by becoming a like, why even become a dictator? Why even do it? Like, what would that give him? Would that cement his legacy? No, his legacy would be one of blood. Here's another thing. And I'm going to explain this to you, even though you guys probably know it, but I desperately want to explain this to my older relatives who don't seem to get it. Dictators act in a very specific way. The first rule about being a dictator is this: you don't give up power, ever. You keep finding new excuses to keep it. That's number one. Trump left office willingly. That's not a dictator. The second thing you need as a dictator is probably complete control of the military or their loyalty. Trump definitely didn't have that. The military lied to him about the Syrian troop levels. So how is this going to happen? Without the military, you can't even do it. And you can't ever leave power. Once you pull the lever, you can't ever leave power. You got to like kill everybody just to stay in power. That's what they do. Saddam Hussein killed hundreds of people. Hundreds and hundreds of people, especially when you first take power. JC, 99-year-old Trump campaigning for Barron. That would be hilarious. Does that math check out? Would he be 99? Let's see, he's 18 now. So I think Barron would have to be 40, so it's 22 years. That's almost, I think you almost got it. Yeah, he'd be in his 90s. That would be freaking hilarious. It'd be like John Quincy Adams. Sam Rogers is here. Hello, everyone. Guess what we're talking about, Sam? Yeah, it's not movies. Haven't even gotten to the box office. I said to Joan as I was recording this, how many minutes will it take before we're talking about Trump? So yeah, you just don't give up power. So it's ridiculous to say, oh, we're losing our democracy. It's ridiculous. It's a completely ridiculous statement. You don't even know what you're talking about. The army wouldn't do it. The courts would. What about the courts? They're not going to do it. Congress isn't going to do it. You'd have to kill everyone. You'd have to kill thousands and thousands of people. You'd have to have like a military that would be willing to do it. They're just not willing to do it. Sam Rogers, I will be praying for you guys. Well, thank you. What are we praying for? Oh wait, are you in the UK? Or no, you that's a New Zealand flag, right? You got a UK or a New Zealand flag, heart America. So you're in New Zealand. Oh, that's very nice of you. I'm praying for you guys because New Zealand, I don't know what's wrong with you. I mean, you got rid of that awful woman, so that's good. I hope New Zealand goes based very soon. Watch out for Neil Gaiman. Apparently he is on the prowl there. Indie Phantom. Razor Fist and Sticks vids from today are high recommends. I am kind of drifting between other live streams. It's a hot night tonight. Yes, I recommend them as well. Oh, I just got a Trump tweet. Or a Trump... I'm on the Trump list. He keeps sending me things. Sam Rogers. No, that's an Australian flag. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Thank you, Aussie. I worry for you guys. I really worry for the Aussies. Yeah, your government's not good. You need to go based. You need a based Aussie government. I very much worry. I mean, at least you're going to get back Julian Assange. Maybe he could do something about it. But yeah, your government, rough, man. Rough government. I suspect infiltrated heavily by the CCP. At least that's the rumor I heard. So, don't worry about us. We're going to be fine, I think. We get to November with Trump, I think we're going to be fine. My only worry going into November, besides Trump's safety, is the down ballot elections. Now, I'm hoping, again, if anything good comes out of this, it would be that Trump wins in a landslide, and then the down ballot goes for him, too. Sam Rogers, White Stars, Australian Red Stars, New Zealand. Ah, okay. It's close though, so I wasn't being stupid. I wasn't being that stupid, right? Yeah. So, but the tide is turning, at least here. People are not going to be afraid to wear their MAGA hats and support Trump. Put out the Trump flags. I'm seeing more and more Trump flags as I drive around South Jersey. There was a time put up a Trump flag. You know, you're kind of endangering yourself a little bit. I don't have a Trump flag. Probably would I get one? I'm not really a flag guy. What would I get? I'd probably get a funny T-shirt. More Trump tweets. I'd get a Trump T-shirt. I bought my brother a Trump shirt, kind of as a joke, and it was Trump Claus from Mark Dice. If you saw that shirt, it was pretty funny. I figured he would wear it to piss off some of my other relatives, but he didn't want to do that. But it's a pretty funny shirt. So maybe I'll get a Trump shirt. But see, I have to be careful just going out to shows and wearing that. I don't want to get political at shows, so where would I wear it? I don't really go anywhere other than my girlfriend's place, but probably don't want to wear it there either. So I don't know if I ever go anywhere other than to shows to sell my books. Sam Rogers, during the pandemic, they started building camps. After the pandemic, they kept building them. Holy crap. Yeah, I feel very worried for you guys, Sam. Very worried. Someone should do something about that. Someone should do something about that. I'm not suggesting anything violent, of course, but maybe, I don't know how your government works down there. I think you're on a parliamentary deal. So that's a tough one. It's a tough one to flip over. But, man, my theory has been for a long time that, and I think it's true, the deep state controls every country in the West as well. I mean, you look at what we've been talking about just in America. Imagine the damage they could do to other countries, because and it's true, we're just way more powerful. We have ridiculous amounts of money. We controlled the internet for decades, and we still do, as near as I can tell. Not as much as we did before, but and that's really all you have to do. Control the internet, listen to all the communications, and we can make anything happen. So I think the EU was a project started by the deep state in order to control Europe in one big group, and then I think we're probably directing your government and every government in the West. So Canada, to me, is the test case for here, and they're running that thing right in the ground. So part of it's on us, but we're making strides. Keep Trump safe. Get to November. Get him in. Take back the House and Senate. I mean, we still have the Senate. We're likely to have the Senate by a few votes. And if we're really lucky, we'll keep the House and maybe even gain a few. And if that happens, then maybe we could do something. Now, there's some rhinos still in the mix that we're going to have to deal with, but if we get both houses, I think some things can finally happen. But either way, Trump could save the day. Trump could save the day. What was the other links I had? Oh, this was pretty funny. Trump has 3 baby mamas, a mugshot, 34 felonies, and has been shot. He has more street cred than most new gen rappers. Thought that was pretty funny. And Mark Wade seems to have lost his mind, as always. So, here's one of his tweets. Because right-wing lunatics and Comicsgate incels have made a campaign today of sickly twisting my condolences about yesterday's tragedy into claims that I cheer for political violence, I have deleted my post. I will not give them any fuel to spread their disgusting lies. Oh, sounds reasonable, huh? Oh, well, here's his tweets. Pray that the shooter was wearing an RFK Jr. t-shirt. That doesn't sound very nice. And if you're just tuning in, some effing idiot with SE eyesight just clinched the election for Trump. F. Now, that's not calling for violence, but sounds like you're kind of wishing some violence, though. He's not calling for it, but it sounds like you're wishing things had gone another way, Mark. I've lost all respect for Mark Wade at this point. I mean, this is just petty, mean stuff. And it's from a guy, when I met him, probably the biggest geek in comics I ever met. Just a geeky guy. Nothing wrong with that. Doing the comic book thing. Very successful at it. He wasn't super successful when I met him. I don't think Kingdom Come had come out yet, but he was working in the biz. And now it's like politics just has consumed some of these people. And Mark Wade, to me, is an example of it, in the world of comics anyway. Now, some of the women, I think they've always been a little wacky. I think a lot of the women who are, and again, I'm not trying to be misogynist a-hole, I don't think it's every woman, but I think the women who are woke and caught up in this are the kind of women who get caught up in anything. You know, back in the 80s, those same women would have been caught up in religion. They would have been caught up in the satanic panic. They would have been, we've got to get our children to school. Think of the children. In the 90s, they were screaming about rap lyrics, because I was a big fan of Public Enemy. I remember when, I think it was Newsweek, published their lyrics and analyzed them they were, I don't know, they thought they were doing science or something. And it was ridiculous. These people were they're just making music. You don't have to listen to them. And that's what we said back in the 90s, kids. Turn it off. Change the channel. But now they're caught up in this. Oh, I'm in the resistance. We can't have Trump, our democracy. They don't even know what they're saying. They just latch on to something. And I think Wade is, he's not a woman, but he might as well be. He's caught up in it too. He's just caught up in it. And he's so emotionally invested, now he can't get out. Like, there's no way he can back out now. If he backed out now, like, how would he even do it? And I don't know if you guys even know who Mark Waid is, really. He's a comic book guy. He wrote Kingdom Come. Fairly famous in the world of comics. But it's just so weird to see people that you thought were... I mean, I never thought he was cool, but I thought, oh, there's a colleague of mine in the world of comics, and I kind of know him, and I interviewed him, and I mean, if I had seen him at a con, I could probably say hi to him, and maybe he'd remember me from many years ago or whatever. Now I just wouldn't even bother. It's just weird how some people just, man, they just slide down the ramp and they never come back. I don't know if it's fame or money, or I think in this case it's just he doubled down too many times and now he's just stuck. He's just stuck in his politics. He thought he was going to win. Like, he thought his politics were safe. And a lot of people are like that too. Oh, I'm on the right side of history. I'm going to be over here with the Democrats. Yeah, no, that's a safe bet. And they've doubled down and tripled down so many times, they can't get out. How are they going to get out? They will never hear the end of it. And that's what they're all trying to avoid at the end of the day. Nobody wants to make that change. Like, when I flipped over my politics, like, my politics wasn't all that public, maybe to a couple of friends who I argued politics with. One in particular I'm thinking of, but, even him, like, I saw him not too long ago. We're still friends. And it's like, when you do something this public and it's not even your career, what are you doing? Sam Rogers, the right side of history is a very interesting phrase. Yeah, it's very loaded phrase that, man, you get that one wrong. And I've had older relatives say that to me, and I just thought, oh, God, you were repeating something you heard on MSNBC. Sam Rogers, it's a secular version of saying God is on my side. Yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just so sad to see some people who I thought were very intelligent just get caught up in it to the point at which they lose their damn rationality. They're just not rational people anymore. And to some extent I get it, but holy cow. Sam Rogers, I'm on the right side of history, just has so much smugness. Mm-hmm. So... yeah, and like, I think Wade thinks he's being funny. And to his crew, I guess they could snicker about it, but it's not a fun kind of funny at all. Sam Rogers, I suppose when you win, you rewrite history. Well, history's written by the winners, that is true. This time, and like, for years this was true. I mean, that's what you gotta kind of understand. For decades, it was the Republicans who are a bunch of rich a-holes who ruin the country, and they fight wars, and that was true back in the day. They pushed Vietnam, and the people on the left, they were more populist. Now, they were commies, but they were more populist about it. So people were on their side. They had a real argument. Like, oh, peace and love, man. Yeah, no, don't trust anybody over 25. Don't listen. Abolish the CIA. Nixon is a Klingon. That was back in the day when liberals were kind of on the right side of certain issues. And look, they had new ideas. It was new ideas. They were old, but they were presented in a new way. And so nobody wanted to be saying, yay, Vietnam War. So, and now it's completely flipped. I mean, now you got Democrat. I mean, look at all the wars Biden is getting us into. He's practically got us in World War III. Obama was completely useless. I was just thinking about him the other day. I was just thinking, God, what a useless president. He'll go down in history as the first black president, and that's it. Otherwise, he was completely useless. He spent 8 years doing nothing. Wasting money, not getting us out of Afghanistan. I mean, it's just a complete and utter waste of a presidency. 8 years of Obama slowly destroying the economy. Complete and utter waste. So, but these people get sucked into it and they never come back. There's no way. Mark, I think, will be a bitter old man before he ever admits that he's wrong or gives up politics at this point. How can he? How can he give up politics? How can he, with a straight face, promote his next comic and never mention politics? Like, it's like all these celebrities. It's like Alec Baldwin. How can that guy go back to promoting movies like nothing happened on the set of Rust? Like nothing happened. Like he didn't spend all of Trump's presidency making fun of him on SNL or, you know. And how could they have him back on SNL? But he will. He'll be back. He'll be back. Give it a year. Maybe this year. Maybe by this fall. He'll have him back on SNL doing Trump impersonations. I bet. Sam Rogers, Nixon is a Klingon. I know they're trying to say that he's war hungry, but Nixon is a Klingon makes me want to vote for him. That was a campaign button I saw back in the day, like an anti-Nixon button. At the time, it was funny because Star Trek was on TV, and Nixon was running for, I forget what he was running for at the time. I guess he was running for re-election. I mean, I wasn't old enough, but I saw it. I saw a lot of this stuff like after the fact, after it was over. Carter Chain is here. Will Trump ever be back on SNL? No. Not unless... I mean, SNL is essentially dead, too. SNL is more dead than Star Wars, in my view. What would have to happen to SNL would be the same thing that would have to happen with Star Wars. A complete teardown. Like, if I took over SNL, it would be back, baby. I would make it. I would get rid of cue cards. I would get a bunch of improv guys. It would be nuts. But they're not going down that path. I mean, maybe after Lorne Michaels leaves, which they're talking about this year, and I could talk about this all day. I was a huge SNL guy, but I doubt it. They would have SNL needs a total teardown. I think they'll cancel it before they do that. Carter Chain, Tony is sold. He remembers Nixon. LOL. Yeah. JEC, Trump is too funny for SNL. Yeah. I think what is more likely to happen is someone will do an SNL show like Fox News or Fox. Maybe not Fox, like the Daily Wire or someone like that will do a show. Maybe Greg Gutfeld will produce an SNL like show to compete with it, and I think they should. I would totally write for a show like that. I would love it. And look, I'm an equal opportunity guy in terms of comedy. You have to be. The problem with SNL wasn't that they didn't have the talent. Even today, I mean, the people they have on their show, I mean, they sound terrible on the show, but the show ruins people a lot of times, I think. The design of the show does that now, I think. So it's just a matter of directing the show, like, yeah, do whatever the hell you want. Like, if you tell comedians, make this show funny, they can make it funny. If you hired me and say, make this show funny at all costs, I'll make it funny. You might get a lot of phone calls, but it'll be funny. And that's how you know you're doing well, when people are like calling, oh my God, what did I see on TV last night? That's the kind of calls they got for the original SNL. They put things on TV that had never been on TV before. It was crazy. Watch the original SNL episodes from the first season. For 1975, they're absolutely insane. And I watched them. I was 9 years old and I was watching them every time. Until my parents figured out I was watching this show, and they were like, "What is this? What are you watching?" LeMay, Obama, the Drone King. Yeah, people forget that. Was that the last one? Yeah, that's the last one. To wrap up on the Trump pew pew thing, if you guys have any more to say about that. He's fine. He's going into the RNC. They refuse to kick up the security at it. So hopefully Trump has done that on his own. I'm sure he has. I don't see any reason that he would not do that. The VP announcement is imminent. That's going to be huge. And Sticks and Hammer said this, and I think I have to agree. Trump's VP pick was probably influenced by this incident. So in other words, whoever he was thinking of picking, if he was thinking of picking someone like a Doug Burgum, boring, or Mark Rubio, so wrong, that choice is now no longer on the table. He needs to pick somebody that the deep state will go, oh God, we can't kill Trump because then that guy will be in charge and he's even worse. So the choices on that list would be Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't think they want him based on his rhetoric. He's very libertarian, I would say. Possibly Tulsi Gabbard, although I think she would be kind of acceptable to them. I think they would look at her as like, well, we could block her, and she's not going to be forceful enough to stop us. Maybe, who's the other one? J.D. Vance, I don't know about. But the one guy Trump could pick, and initially I thought this was going to be his VP pick, and this may be it, is General Flynn. There is no way they want General Flynn in charge of the country. I'll tell you right now. There is no effing way they want General Flynn as the VP for Trump. They will freak the F out. They will protect Trump night and day if he picks General Flynn. So now he may pick him. Sam Rogers, didn't they run out of bombs? They never run out of bombs, unfortunately. They haven't run out of taxpayer money. JC, not Viveki. People don't want an Indian guy. He's a WEF plant. Yeah, everybody says that. Well, some people say that, I should say. But I haven't seen any evidence of it. Like any real hardcore evidence of it. I worry that that's the case, but he talks a good game. I mean, you might be correct. I don't know. LeMay, Ben Carson. Oh, right. He was the other guy I was trying to think of. Yeah, I don't think they want him either. I think he would be mostly Trump. I think he might go a little softer than Trump, but Carter Chain, they don't want J.D. Vance either. Maybe. I mean, I don't dislike him. I just don't know much about him. He seems pretty good. But I'll tell you right now, if they pick General Flynn, they'll go after Flynn before they go after Trump. If he picks Flynn, they'll go bananas. So I think he should pick. I think he should totally pick General Flynn. JC, kindly Grandpa Ben Carson. Sam Rogers, Kennedy, not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. They would love Kennedy to be in. Kennedy has stated openly that he would take the Democratic position. That if they, take Biden out of the race, he'd run as a Democrat. That's not a guy we want on our side. He has some very wacky views. Yes, he's good on he would destroy the pharmaceutical companies and maybe even get to the bottom of the pandemic stuff, but everything else would be awful. He would ban guns. He would do all kinds of things. Not completely ban guns, but he would have tons of gun control. He might control the border somewhat, but I don't think he would go full bore with it. But no, Kennedy, not an option. The deep state would be fine with Kennedy. JC, Kennedy is basically a communist. He's just based on the jab. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you could say he's a commie, but he said some whacked out things, man. That would be like putting Jill Stein in the mix. Like, Jill Stein was good on a couple of issues, but she is not good. Not good. The closest thing I would take to a lefty would be Tulsi Gabbard, who I think would be good, but I don't think the deep state is afraid of her. So I think Sticks and Hammer overestimates her abilities a little bit. I like her. I think she'd be a good pick, but I don't know if she'd be a great president. I think she'd be okay. But yeah, you pick General Flynn. No way. No way do they want him in the driver's seat. And after that, I don't know. Who would go nuts? Like, Rand Paul. Yeah, they wouldn't want Rand Paul either. But unfortunately, I don't think Rand Paul's on the list this time. Bleach Demon is here. Slipping late. Why are you slipping so late? Why didn't you slip earlier? And then you would have been here. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. Do you mean sleeping late? Yeah, so Trump is good to go. Going to be at the RNC. He needs more security. I'll tell you the other thing Kennedy's, I don't know if you could say he's good on, but it would be the JFK, RFK files. Oh, you'd get to see all of them if he ever became president. Because the stuff he said about his father, he did his own little investigation of his dad. Holy cow. Watch that interview sometime. That is extremely interesting. What he said about how his dad died and the forensics around that. Wow. Carter Chain at Bleach Demon. Try to be on time, Dad. All right. I think we've covered all the Trump stuff now. Now we have to get into the important things. The important things in life, which of course is movies. But feel free to jump in with your Trump takes if you still got some. Bleach Demon. Slipping in late. My girlfriend did a late dinner. Nice. At Carter Chain. Son, don't make me get the belt. Ooh, no. Shh. Be quiet, Carter. Dad's going to get the belt. So looking at the numbers. Despicable Me 4. Still at the top of the pops. Yeah. Man, Steve Carell. His house must be made of solid gold by this point. Jesus. He picked a good one. This is the second week. Drop of 40%. It's got legs, baby. It did 437 million already. That's pretty good. In 2 weeks, that's pretty good. I don't think this is going to hit $1 billion. I think it hits maybe 600, somewhere around there, 500, 600 million. No, we're closer to 600. I'll say 600. 600, maybe 7. Worldwide. And that ain't too shabby. Ain't too shabby on a movie that cost, I didn't say. Did not say. But damn, they're going to make more of these. How many more are they going to make? I haven't been following the story, but Jesus. And the inevitable TV show is coming. I hope you know that. JC, kids love Minions. They sure as hell do. They're making a Minions 3. So you got Despicable Me 4 and Minions 3 in the pipeline. That's 7 movies. This franchise has already made over $5 billion. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. Number 2 is Long Legs, starring Nick Cage as a serial killer. I hear good things about this. The buzz is good. 22 million. That's not a bad opening in 2,500 theaters. I don't know if Nick Cage is in it a lot, though. It doesn't feel like he's in it a lot, but I do kind of want to see it. LeMay, French animation scene is going strong. JC, you can make Minions movies forever. Treat it like a sitcom. Kids won't mind. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the AI could take care of a 24-hour Minions sitcom running on a platform somewhere. Carter Chain, did you see the joke about 100 years of Despicable Me and the Minions movies? It might not be a joke, LOL. Is that like Rick and Morty, 100 years, Rick and Morty? I mean, yeah, with AI, I think a lot of these cartoons, I think Simpsons will be around forever. Remember, I don't know if you remember the Simpsons opening, where it showed the Simpsons 10,000 years in the future, and it was just so incomprehensible. It didn't make any sense at all. That's what we're probably headed towards, you know, as the AI slowly breaks down and deconstructs the Simpsons till they're incomprehensible to us in the modern day. But yeah, I could see that. That may be the future. All cartoons at first. Because the AI, I'll bet the AI will be able to do cartoons better than live action at first. And once you get to that, no more animators, baby. The animators are all going away, I think. JC, oh yeah, AI could make the Minions junk. Minions don't even speak English. Carter Chain, no, they actually made a website where there's a movie every 2 years for 100 years. Look it up. Oh, wow. Interesting. I will have to look it up later. That's pretty cool. Well, my favorite thing was, I forget what it was called. It was the 16-bit Seinfeld thing, where it was the 4 Seinfeld characters in 16-bit constantly like 24/7 Seinfeld running just at random. That was interesting. I think they're going to do that eventually with Seinfeld. But yeah, I had to check that out. But I think Long Legs sounds very interesting to me. JC, I mean, the AI is just based on previously made footage. You need to feed the beast eventually. Well, yeah, somebody has to throw some new stuff in, but that'll be the one job left. Writer. They won't hire me, of course, though. The producers will do it. Remember, it doesn't have to be good. It just has to be good enough to make money. And, yeah, they don't want any actual. But the good news is, again, I'll be able to make Pineys movies with all my books. I'll just put them in the computer, and boom, Pineys. Let's see. What was the budget on Long Legs? No budget. But yeah, Long Legs, I want to see it. More importantly, my girlfriend wants to see it, so we got a movie we can go see in the theaters. Finally something interesting in the theaters. Jesus. And every time I go to the movies now, because it's so rare, I go there and I'm always like, oh yeah, the freaking previews and the commercials and the horrible wait. The wait time is agonizing in a movie theater now. Sam Rogers, it won't be a writer as such. I'll just be an ideas man. AI will do the writing. Maybe. LeMay, AI prompt content manager. Yeah. Or engineer. Yeah. What do? I tell a computer what to do. Kind of. Not really. You know, there'll probably be some editing involved. But other than that, look forward to the Pineys movies. Sam Rogers. This is the sad thing. Why should anyone buy your books when they can make their own books with AI? Because my books are awesome, and AI can't do what I do. They could try. It could try to do, like, if you put the Pineys inside an AI, like all the books, all 14 books, 15 coming out in 2 weeks. The only thing that would happen is it would just repeat what I've already done. And I make every book different, so that would be painfully obvious for the Pineys. Now, if you do that with Three's Company or a sitcom or Minions, it's going to be all the same crap too, but you kind of won't notice it as much, I think, because the bar is a lot lower, you know? But yeah, I don't think AI will get to the point where they could take the Pineys and do an original book that would make any sense. It's always going to be derivative. JC, I mean, AI looks fine at a glance, but once into it, it's all nonsense. It's math equation. It has no concept of the intent behind things. Yes. Yeah. See, it doesn't know what parts are good and what parts are important. It just regurgitates. Zevic's Demise is here. Come knock on Abe's hat. Come and knock on Abe's hat. We've been waiting for you. Oh man, it's been so long since I saw. I was struggling to remember the lyrics. Three's Company lyrics. God, I used to watch that show. Sam Rogers. There will always be a new generation of kids that don't know it's the same stuff. That's true. And that's part of the problem with, like, these Star Wars, TV shows that are terrible, but people are still watching them. They don't even know what's good. They don't know good Star Wars, really. So, if you've never seen a space movie and you see, I don't know, the Alkalite for the first time, you might watch it and go, well, that wasn't too bad. Probably not, because that one's really bad. But like Andor, maybe, you'd be like, oh, cool space stuff. I've never seen this before. But that's because you've never seen it before. But once you see some good stuff and get a taste for it, then you would quickly know, oh, yeah, that stuff I saw originally sucks. So, yeah, I think there'll always be a place for writers. The problem is, Hollywood's been trying to get rid of writers for years, and they screw over writers at every possible turn. My theory is this. A lot of these guys who have the money and approve these things have no talent, but they have money. But they cannot allow their ego to acknowledge that they need the talent. They can't do it. They have to do it. They have to, put their finger in it just to say, no, it was really me. They're so insecure that way. And I met guys like that out in Hollywood, and one in particular I'm thinking of. Can't let it go. Can't let it go without putting their finger in it and going, no, it was me. Sam Rogers. There's always a new generation of 6-year-olds, and it's new to them. That is true. But if one of these money guys, every once in a while there's a money guy who's like the old Hollywood. And those money guys were like, okay, I'm the money guy. There's the talent. I'm going to back the talent. And then we're all going to make a lot of money. That's the guy you need. A true patron of the arts. That's a patron of the arts. A guy who's willing to put up his money because he believes in an artist. And then the artist is good. All those factors have to be there. Now, sometimes you got a patron of the arts and he picks a guy he thinks is good, but he actually sucks. And, it doesn't go well. But I can at least respect that the guy tried. Sam Rogers, goodbye, everyone. I'm going to go have breakfast. Oh, that's right. You're upside down in Australia, so you're having breakfast while we're finishing dinner. God bless you guys, says Sam. Oh, that's so nice. God bless you, Sam. Enjoy your shrimp on the barbie, or whatever they have in Australia for breakfast. Godspeed, Sam, says Bleach Demon. Good to hear from Sam. Yeah, so they're always going to need writers. But will they use writers? No. They don't use writers now, and they desperately, desperately need them. I mean, how desperately do they need writers on The Acolyte? Zebek's demise. I'm just starting to cook dinner. What are you cooking? Oh, my girlfriend made me. She got this recipe where she took ribs and put them around a pineapple that she cut off all the outside and then put the ribs around the pineapple and then a bunch of spices and then cooked the whole pineapple and the ribs together. It was really good. I just had the second half. She gave me all the leftovers too. Wasn't that nice of her? And so I ate them tonight. I was very happy. JEC, a lot of the things people are saying about AI, they said about CGI 30 years ago. Flash forward to today, CGI took over special effects, but it still looks like S, and movies cost more than ever. That's true. But part of that is just, again, it's all a management thing. They just want to fire people and make movies that they somehow made for nothing and make millions of dollars on. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to work. Zebek's demise. Pork chops, nothing that fancy. Ooh, pork chops are yummy. I do love me a good pork chop. I like the boneless pork chops. I don't want to deal with bones. I mean, the ribs, I had to deal with bones, but that's ribs. But man, when I get pork chops or chicken, I'm all about the boneless stuff. Don't give me the damn bones. No, thank you. I know people say it tastes different. You want the meat close on the bone. Nah, I don't want to deal with bones. I just want to shove food in my face as quickly as possible and satisfy the immense void in my stomach. Geez, Trump is sending me text after text. I know they shot you. I'm very sorry. I'm supporting you. Yeah, let me try to remember what they were saying about CGI 30 years ago. Let's see. That would have been 94. Yeah, I mean, they were saying stuff that it would replace actors. Well, I think they could replace actors. Again, it all comes back to the 1983 movie Looker with Albert Finney, which I think it's 83, which I constantly remind you of. Or 81, sorry. Watch this movie. This predicted it all. Zebek's demise. What if the bone is like a handle? I guess. I have a fork. Looker really predicted it all. You scan in the actor, and then you make the actor do anything you want. I think that's what AI is going to turn into. You make the AI do something. You make the AI, you do it in pieces, is the way I say it. You say to the AI, okay, here are the actors. Now put them in the street or put them in a car and have the car driving along, and then here's the dialogue. That's what it's going to be, I think. JC, Trump made $500 million when they convicted him. How much he going to make now, LOL? Oh, I don't know. I mean, you know where he made a ton of money is on Truth Social. Truth Social, I think he doubled his friggin' net worth. LeMay, that movie Simone, 2002. Okay. Is that the same kind of thing? Simone. Not coming up. Is it called Simone? 2002? That movie Simone. No results. That movie Simone 2002. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, because it's got a 1. I'd say. Oh, there it is. Oh, right. Right. You mentioned that. Digitally created an actress to substitute for the star, becoming an overnight sensation that everyone thinks is a real person. Yeah. And another movie that isn't quite the same thing. Oh, what the hell was it called? Oh, gosh. this movie. I think Denzel Washington is in it, where they build a serial killer, a digital serial killer, and he escapes somehow from the Matrix that he's in, runs amok. Oh, God, I can't think of what it was called. It had a weird name. I think it was Denzel Washington. It's an old movie. I want to say Russell Crowe was the killer in it. God. It was ancient movie. Let's see. Carbon Copy, no. License to Kill. I think it was him. Or was it Russell Crowe was in it? Oh, God, I can't think of the movie now. Hold on, let me go to Russell Crowe. Maybe it was Russell Crowe was in it? Bleach Demon had Rusty Crowe in it too. Yeah, what the hell was it called? Something like Viscosity, or it had like a name like that. Weird name, like an adverb. Virtuosity, 1995. That's it. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, there he is. There's Russell Crowe. There's Denzel Washington. When a virtual reality simulation created using the personalities of multiple serial killers managed to escape into the real world, an ex-cop is tasked with stopping its reign of terror. And then, of course, The 13th Floor. That's another movie. So, see, we can beat the AI as long as we watch old movies. As long as we watch and learn from old movies, all will be well. So it would be fun, though, again, to just take all the old movies and just go through them, remake them. You know, the AI will be able to do everything. The problem with AI, there'll just be so much crap. It'll all come back down to what it always comes down to. Who do you trust? Who do you trust enough to go into a movie theater and then watch the movie, right? Sometimes you trust an actor. Sometimes you trust a director. Sometimes you even trust a studio. But, like, now you don't trust Disney, I assume, right? Like, Disney has a movie for kids? Yeah, I'll pass, is usually the reaction now, I think. But, 30 years ago, Disney has a movie for kids? Sure, my kid could watch it. I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure it's quality. I'm sure it's safe. Now, maybe Pixar still has a bit of that sheen, but a lot of people are just like, ooh, Disney. I don't know about Disney. Bunch of weirdos, I would say. And then you have certain actors, right? Robert De Niro used to be one of those actors. Like, if Robert De Niro was in a movie, you'd be like, oh, Robert De Niro's in a movie? I gotta see that. And then he made Righteous Kill with Al Pacino, and it kind of went downhill from there. Couple other actors. Harrison Ford had a great run up until Hollywood Homicide. Hollywood Homicide is when he got an agent. I think that was the first movie he did after he got an agent. Before that, he was his own agent, and he picked better movies. Bill Murray is still his own agent, as far as I know. He might have a manager or something to do the contracts, but he picks the projects. So, and he picks much better projects. Even Bill Murray's bad projects are pretty good. They're pretty good, or he's good in them at least. Man, Harrison Ford, his picks went right into the crapper after Hollywood Homicide, I think. Anyhow, getting back to the movies. Number 3 is Inside Out, dropping from 2. This movie's a beast. An absolute beast. $20 million this weekend. It's at $1.3 billion. It's a beastly number. Expect 5 sequels. I mean, Inside Out is probably going to be at least as big as Despicable Me when they're all said and done, unless they screw it up. I mean, it's possible they could screw it up. I didn't think this movie was going to do this well, but Lewis Black must be so happy because he wasn't getting a ton of work. But now, and it's in its fifth week, it still made $20 million this weekend. That's pretty good for a movie that's been out over a month. Number 4, dropping from 3, A Quiet Place Day 1. I have no interest in this. $220 million isn't bad. Don't know if that's money. It's probably money, though. Although I imagine they spent about $100 million at least on it. Number 5, Fly Me to the Moon. This movie looked like crap. It just looked like a love story between Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson. I think you're about 10 years too late to do a movie like this with these two. I love Scarlett Johansson, but and the production budget is $100 million. You spent $100 million on this thing? What are you, out of your mind? Inside Out 1, says JEC, was really good. Not sure how much legs the concept has beyond this sequel before the concept goes thin. I don't know. I'd assume if they keep doing different stages of her life, they could keep it going. And then they could switch to other people. I mean, they could do a different character. So, I don't know. But yeah, this Fly Me to the Moon thing looked so boring. I can't believe they spent $100 million on it. 19 million worldwide. That might break even on the production, but that's about it. Bad Boys Ride or Die drops from 5 to 6. 4.4 million. Did okay. It's money. 377 million. Horizon, An American Saga, Chapter 1 drops from 6 to 7. As I've told you, this is an incredibly boring movie. I mean, it's not even bad. It's just, there's just too much of it. It's 3 hours. It's not really a movie. It's like 3 act ones or 4 act ones, something like that. It's got cool stuff in it, historically speaking. It should have been a mini-series, or they should have broken it up better or something. Kevin Costner doesn't even show up for an hour. So, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking with this. He financed it at least partially with his own money. It's at $28 million. The sequel was supposed to come out in August. Now it's been delayed because I think they want to make their money back, Kevin. And the budget was only $50 million, so it didn't have to do much, but it's only at $28 million and dropping like a stone. So what are they going to do? I mean, 2.2 million or 2.4 million? You got to make up another 22 million? That's going to be tough, man. I don't think you're going to make it. I think this is going to lose money. I don't even think this is going to make $50 million. In another week, you might have 35 million, maybe, and then you might squeak to like 40 million, but that's still $10 million short, and you got a sequel to this thing. I don't know, man. I don't know why, but Razor Fist and John Nolte both like this movie. I mean, there are some cool things in it, but it just doesn't really come together. It's just sort of a bunch of cool scenes, but I don't know what they're thinking. Dropping from 4 to 8, Maxine XXX. Wow, this is not doing well. Kind of surprised. I kind of want to see this, but I got to start with the first one and burn my way through it. I think I'm just going to wait for streaming at this point. 14 million. Not great. Not great. But probably didn't cost an insane amount of money to make. I don't think it's money, but probably didn't lose much. Number 7, or This will be number 9, dropping from 7 to 9. Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot from Angel Studios. Doing well for Angel Studios. They always make very economical movies. 9.7 million. And the budget was 8.5. I don't think they spend a tremendous amount of money on advertising, so that might be money already, but they look like they're well on their way to making money. And its second week, though, it dropped to 56%. That's kind of not great. That's kind of not legs, but I think you might make money. Lion King goes back into theaters, makes $1 million. Oh, smart, Disney. Smart. Sorry, I'm blowing up here. Then this movie, Touch, from Focus, $500,000. No idea. Didn't see the trailer for this one yet. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes just won't go away, but it made its money, still in its 10th week. Thelma, still want to see this movie in its 4th week. Wait for streaming. It looks fun. The Bike Riders, been in theaters for a month, dropping from 9, 32 million. I don't think there's any way this is money, but maybe. Feel like this would cost at least 50 million. Kinds of Kindness. I don't want this movie to do well. I don't like the people who made this movie. Too artsy fartsy for me. 8.7 million. I don't think that's money. Carter Chain. The Sound of Hope also went straight to the Daily Wire. Oh, smart. The Fall Guy. How is The Fall Guy still in theaters after 11 weeks? Man, they want this thing to make its money back, but they got a long wait. They got a long wait. I mean, it made back its budget, but they advertised the hell out of this thing. $125 million budget, 177 million worldwide. I don't think that's money. The Garfield movie, that definitely made money in its 8th week. 200,000. Yeah, I might as well pull it. Sing Sing. Prison movie. $137,000. Well, that doesn't sound like money at all, but it just opened, so sounds like an art house thing. Yeah, 824. If still lingering, $125,000. Dandelion, IFC, $65,000. Another art house project, not sure. It's in 446 theaters. That's a very low amount. $65,000 for that many theaters. That doesn't bode well. Robot Dreams still in theaters for another 49,000. They put it in more theaters. Weird. In its 7th week. Janet Planet, another art house film. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Hasn't even cracked $1 million. National Anthem. Okay. Hot chick on a horse. Not sure what that's about. $42,400. Dylan, a soft-spoken 21-year-old construction worker, is the de facto father figure to his little brother and works odd jobs to help the family get by. After he finds himself with the opportunity to work at a ranch, he is welcomed by a vibrant community of rodeo performers who are openly gay. Who openly explore the identities and sexualities. He is especially drawn to Sky, a force of nature who Dylan connects with deeply. He begins to forge his own identity. That's a trans woman on the horse. This is a trans rodeo movie. So if you're into trans people and cowboys, you got this movie, National Anthem. Yeah, I don't think this movie's going anywhere. It's in 4 theaters. Last Summer, kind of a messed up movie about a woman who has an affair with her stepson. It is not a porno, but it is French. In its 3rd week. Jesus. It made $24,000 and it's only made $104,000. Bleach Demon, National Disgrace is more like it. This one to me is more disgraceful than that. This is like, this woman has sex with her stepson? That's messed up. It's messed up. what is this, a porno? And Ghostlight, I forget what this movie was. Yeah, this is going out of theaters. Another art house film. So, 124 million, not bad weekend for this time and place. Most of it going to Despicable Me, Long Legs, Inside Out, Quiet Place. All the top ones, Fly Me to the Moon. So not bad. Hollywood is kind of recovering, I guess. You might say. But they always seem to be teetering on the brink of, like, having a really bad weekend. So, Maxine should have done better, but it just feels like a lot of people are just avoiding the movies. Again, it's about cost, too. Like, my girlfriend wants to go see Longlegs, but, you know, it's going to be like, I don't know, 14, 15 bucks a piece. And you get popcorn and all that crap. I mean, you're looking at a movie, you're going to spend $50, $60 just for two people. You know, where we could just, and there are literally hundreds of movies we could watch on Netflix, or whatever friggin' platform you have. And yeah, they suck. I think most of them suck, but if you dig deep enough, you can find a good one. Although we did watch this movie that wasn't very good. I was thinking about reviewing it, but it kind of just sucked, and it's kind of a forgettable movie. It was called Steak Land. It had some promise. It was kind of like The Walking Dead, but with vampires. And yeah, it's just kind of boring. It had a good first act. It had promise, and then it just kind of. I don't think they had enough money to really make it work. But it was very much like The Walking Dead. You had people, you know, it was post-apocalyptic. Everybody was gone. They keep walking from town to town. But it had some problems. I don't even feel like breaking it down because you don't even know what the hell it is. It's just kind of a forgettable movie. They had a guy in it who was like a low-rent Pedro Pascal. But he was pretty good. He was better at Pedro Pascal than Pedro Pascal is, I think. All right, checking over at Variety. Sharon Doherty has passed. If you did not know, she had cancer and had been battling it. Dead at 53. Too young, said the 58-year-old. She also said that her ex was fighting her, battling her in divorce court. And she said, he's battling me in court and dragging it out, hoping that I die so he doesn't have to pay me. Yeah, so that sounds like it could be true. Jab cancer? She had the cancer, I think, before that. But you know my theories on that. I can't go into them, but you know my theories. That it maybe contributed. I am not a doctor, but that's what I heard from another guy about another thing that's completely unrelated to the thing I shouldn't talk about. Daily Show cancels on-the-ground RNC plans after Trump's assassination attempt. Oh, you don't want to make snarky comments at the Republicans? Oh, why not? Why not? Why not send a bunch of comedians that now everybody knows they're comedians to say effed up things to the Republicans? Oh, why not? Yeah, why even go? Just go to the DNC Daily Show, and then, you know, you can lick their shoes and say, oh, well, I bet you're worried about those unreasonable Republicans, huh? I kind of hate the Daily Show now. Like, initially, it was great because they were, you know, poking holes in various tropes and politicians, but then it just leaned so heavily against the Republicans. But at the time, the Republicans were really screwing things up. So I didn't mind it. In fact, I cheered it on. But now, like, go F yourself, Daily Show. JC, nobody knows who's on the Daily Show now. No one watches. Well, Jon Stewart's back on, but He's only on like once a week to, I guess, get the ratings up. But good. I say good that you canceled your plans. Now cancel the show. This is in Variety, by the way. Bleach Demon. The Daily Show. What made me hate late night political satire since 2005. Well, I have a confession to make. I wrote for the Daily Show's website, Indecision 2008, back in the day, and I got paid to write wacky political takes. And now I would always try to insert the libertarians in, and I was pretty successful. But the reason I was successful on writing for the Daily Show is the first post I did was the World of Warcraft's characters for each candidate. So at that time it was Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Ron Paul was in the mix, and I guess it was Bob Dole. And so I wrote this article making fun of them and then pitching who their character would be in World of Warcraft. And then a World of Warcraft like website picked it up, and we got more hits than any other thing on the site. And they thought I was a genius because it was my first post. They didn't pay me any extra money, but they thought I was a genius. And they liked it so much they said, write another one. So then I wrote a second, like a sequel to the first comedy post, and it just got regular hits. And they were like, you're not a genius at all. And then I did it like another dozen posts before it just ended as a job. But I made a little bit of money. President Biden says he spoke with Donald Trump after rally shooting. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation. What was that call like? How uncomfortable was that? Did he even know who was on the phone? Donald Trump, I want to tell you about a bad guy. Corn Pop. He went against me. Have you thought about getting a straight razor and putting it in the rain bucket and banging it on the curb so it gets nice and rusty, and then nobody will bother you anymore? JC, press X to doubt. I think he probably called him. Now, did he talk to him? I don't know. Or did Trump just say, "Hey, I don't have time to talk to you. I'm too busy like taking over the country." Can you imagine the awkwardness of that phone call? Oh, you. What do you want? Still pooping yourself? That's untrue. I haven't pooped myself ever, that you know of. I mean, yeah, maybe he got through. Yeah, here it is. Despicable Me is the first animated franchise in history to cross $5 billion. It's pretty good. Look at this chick. Megan Maroney. Whoa, what a smoke show this chick is. Holy crap. Look at the face on her. She's gorgeous. Proves she's a country music keeper with her candid and accomplished second record, M.I.O.K. I think I know why she's selling so many records. We had a woman like that in the 80s named, I think her name, wasn't that Lita Ford? Lita Ford, who was 80s hot. Let me see if I can find her. Lita Ford, I think her name was. Yeah, Lita Ford. Let's see if I can find the hot pictures of her. These are recent pictures. Oh, come on. Give me a hot picture of Lita Ford. I mean, she looks good for age. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. Oh, come on. That's all the pictures of Lita Ford. Lita Ford, 80s. Let's try 80s. Okay, there's a pretty good picture of her. Hey, here she is in her prime. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, in the Runaways. Oh, this is, yeah. She's hot stuff. Oh, back in the 80s, I saw this picture of her and I was like, LeMay, I told you I needed more security. Bleach Demon, she's more than okay. Yeah. But back in the day, she was a stone cold fox. Lita Ford. Lita Ford. I couldn't name one song, but I remember those record out covers. Oh, yeah. Bleach Demon. Crystal Gale when young. Okay. Crystal Gale. Crystal Gale. I'll just put Crystal Gale young. Oh yeah, she's hot. What a cutie. Oh, I like that hair. I like girls with good hair. You got good hair, it's like half the battle with me. You got bad hair, nah, I'm out. It's got to be long too. No, none of this short hair BS. All right, moving on to. Oh, I already did that. Fandom Pulse. Oh, Mark Wade and Heather Antos cheers the assassination attempt of Donald Trump because they are lefties. As the comic industry continues its decline. So here is looks like a part of a cover from the Savage Dragon. And Donald Trump, that's what's his face? Eric Larson. He's got pretty bad TDS from what I remember. That's Heather Antos. I don't know. She made some video about comparing Trump to Palpatine, you know. And there's some of the other stuff. Gail Simone, of course. Let's see what she says. Okay, just caught up with the shooting thing. It may be weird, but I'm going to wait until we know more before freaking out. This is bad. It shouldn't happen. Good fortune to us all. Liberals, Donald Trump and Project 2025 are an existential threat. Also, liberals, get well soon, sir. Yeah. Yeah. And more Mark Wade wackiness. So, the comic book industry, everyone. JEC, I saw Heather at a show a few months back. She hit the wall, getting really thick around the hips. Oh, it couldn't happen to a nicer person. We'll see. We'll see how many people pay attention to her comics when she's not bangable. There was a girl in, I'll never forget, I was doing a con, and this girl was promoting a comic, and she was young. She was in her 20s, pretty hot, and she, of course, had a comic based on her character where she wore a hot outfit, and she was dressed as the character, running around the con with her cleavage, selling the comic. Hold on. I'm doing a live stream. Running around with her cleavage hanging out. And I said to her, look, don't push your stupid comic on me. She goes, oh, I have a good comic. I'm like, look, you're running around in this outfit, showing your cleavage. That's why everybody's interested in your comic, because they're interested in your cleavage. So it's not, look, it's a good way to promote, and you'll sell a bunch, but if your story is crap and your artwork's crap, then you don't have anything. JC, she's not bangable now. Looks like a swamp creature. Or creator. I think you meant creature. I don't know. It depends on how thirsty you are. But anyhow, so this girl got mad that I said, it just looks like it. And the comic didn't look like much. It wasn't even a comic. It was like a preview of her comic. And I said, you're just selling this based on your looks. I said, that's not good. It's another superhero comic. It's not going to work. I said, you can keep selling it, but if nobody wants to read the story, if they're just going to buy it for your boobs, they're not going to read it. They just want to talk to you because I'm going to have sex with you. And then I had to go to the bathroom, and I went into the con bathroom, and she followed me in because she was so mad that I had said that to her. And I'm like washing my hands at the sink, and she came in, and I'm like, what the F? And she started yelling at me, and I'm just like, did I tell you anything that you didn't already know? I mean, there's a bunch of thirsty guys at these comic book conventions. They are thirsty. I was one of them. But, you know, I guess I'm not dishonest. Hey, let me tell you, I would have banged her. Absolutely, if I thought I had a chance in hell. But, yeah, making that move at a con, I never could do it. I had a couple of friends who would do that all the time, but I couldn't do it. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Her thing is all woke and stupid. I don't have any interest in her comics. You have to really, you know, women that beautiful, they got to get away from that stuff, or they have to separate their art from the artist, because otherwise they'll sell a bunch of books just because horny guys want to talk to them. And if they don't read the book, yeah, you made a bunch of money, but you might as well just sell blank pages. They're probably not even going to read it. Bunch of woke stuff happened in video games this week. This was a big story. Details emerged of the Neil Gaiman allegations suggesting that 14 women have been abused and alleges he forced a victim to sign an NDA under duress. I'm kind of shocked at this. Neil Gaiman. I really am. But, I mean, I only met him once, but seemed like a nice enough guy. I don't know what happened, but it's a lot of smoke. Now, it's possible. It's just people piling on. It's a Me Too situation. I never heard that he had this reputation. And he was in my, not really in my sphere. He was more not my region of the world, but I thought it was pretty piped into the comic book world. I never heard an accusation like that. And I've heard accusations from about certain creators behind the scenes that I can't say because I have no proof if they're true. But I never heard one about him until now. So, just saying. JC, Neil's into some weird stuff. Yeah. After he went into his open relationship and went public about that, I started to wonder, but, But then again, when a guy's marriage is falling apart and he wants to hold it together, sometimes he'll go down that path to keep his wife, hoping that it's going to work out, but it never does. I don't think it ever does. There was someone, I saw an interview with a woman, and her and her husband did the open relationship thing, and then he started hooking up left and right, and then she got jealous of him. She suggested it initially, but then realized she didn't want it, and then, yeah, she was like, oh, no, now my husband's banging all kinds of hot chicks, and I'm not involved. I want to stop this, but now I can't. Yeah, you open the door to it. Don't ever open the door to this if you want to have a relationship, would be my suggestion. But, still kind of shocking toward either way. And you got to wonder, Neil was pretty public. He's been famous, at least in the world of comics, since the 90s. To do this kind of stuff over years and years and years, it's like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? JEC, I'm thinking Neil wanted to open it up so he could hook up with some of the BPD girls who throw themselves at him at conventions. Maybe. The impression I got, though, was his wife was the one who wanted to open it up. But maybe not. But then that begs the question, too. It's like, he would have girls throwing themselves at him. Right? And you'd think, he wouldn't need to do anything other than say, you. Sure, let's go upstairs. So, I don't know. It could be that he is getting screwed because somebody accused him, and then all the girls who had sex with him, who expected a relationship with him, are now lining up to go, oh, I'm going to show you, Mr. Guy who implied we'd have a relationship, whether he said that or not. They put it in their head, maybe. JC, almost think Neil travels more for conventions and talks than his wife does touring. Maybe. But the thing is, and it's taken me a while to come to this concept, and I'm sort of embarrassed to say that. You have sex with someone, it's a big deal. So having tons of sex with a ton of different people, this is the inevitable consequence, I think. There's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. And, that's just the way it is. Especially for women. Like, guys can kind of, if you're single, you can kind of screw around. And for you, it's fine mentally. But for women, they're too emotionally invested. They're too emotionally invested in it. Even the ones that say they're not, they're really lying to themselves. They're not lying to you. They're lying to themselves. They think they won't be, and then they'll have sex with you. And what happens after sex, and this was a study done by a female neurologist, when you have sex, you get a shot of oxycodone in the brain. The men get a small dose. It can last hours. It could last maybe a week. The women get a large dose, like an incredibly big dose. And it drives the nesting instinct. And it can last a year to 2 years. A year. Think about that. It can last a year to 2 years. And I don't think women understand the power of that. Even though it happens to them. And quite frankly, explains many of my relationships. Because you could chart the arc a lot of times with my slightly longer relationships, where at about the year mark, it would be like, why am I with you? Because it just kind of wears off. But before it does, the nesting instinct kicks in, and they're making you cookies, and they're making you food, and they're loving you to death. And my advice is, and this is why you have to spend time with someone, like a long time before you really commit to a relationship, I think. And so when you're a big celebrity and you're going to bang a bunch of chicks, they might think they could have sex with you and then just be like, oh, I had sex with Neil Gaiman, everybody, and be on their merry way. But the reality is they get hit with that, and then you're off to the next convention, and they're like, well, wait a minute. No, I thought we really had something here. Oh, no, I mean, I know I said I'd just have sex with you and forget about it, but I really can't stop thinking about you. Like, they don't expect the effect it has on them, I think. And so, fast forward a few years, and he gets accused of something, whether they actually think there was something untoward or not, they might think, well, this is my chance to get even, or, well, maybe I was coerced because I certainly felt very bad. You know what I mean? Bleach Demon, my woman hasn't made me cookies now, questioning things. Ha ha. Well, but then if you stay with somebody and you have a good thing going after that sort of time period, and so I don't know. Don't jump into anything is all I'm saying, but if you're going to be with somebody, spend some time with them. Alex Ogle, I just watched the first series of Good Omens on Amazon this weekend. It was fun, but certainly it highlights Terry Pratchett as not that funny and Neil Gaiman as really rather creepy. Interesting. Yeah, and I kind of can't forgive Neil for betraying Sandman with his casting choices in the Sandman show. Absolutely can't forgive that. The idea that he could recast Death and not use some pale chick, whether she's black or not, I don't even care, but she should have been in that makeup, which they weren't going to do with a black chick, but yeah, I just wasn't going to watch that, and now I write him off as another victim of woke. And now, like, it sounds like the left is turning on him too. More DEI stuff. Man, there was a lot of DEI stuff in video games this week. Incredible amounts. I've been sort of out of video games for a while. I still have Red Dead Redemption 2 sitting over there in the shrink wrap. I still haven't opened it because it's so friggin' time intensive. And one of these days I'll get to it. One of these days I'll make some money and have something called, I think they call it free time. Wonder what that's like. Moving on. Oh, here we go. Hollywood Reporter. I mean, Daily Show canceling their Milwaukee shows. Good. Good. I don't give them any credit for doing that. I think they kind of had to, but good. Oh, Alex Ogle, you just got here. Hello. Or just, said something. Let's see, what else? Charlize Theron calls Furioso beautiful. Hasn't yet discussed the movie with Anya Taylor-Joy. Give it up. All right, the movie flopped. Nobody wanted a Mad Max movie without Mad Max. Okay? If you made it different, if you had not called it a Mad Max saga, it could have worked. But you didn't. You thought you would say, oh, no, you don't want a Mad Max. You want the chick. You want a girl boss movie. No, we don't. We want Mad Max. Mad Max was the dude. We want the dude. Rapper Wiz Khalifa arrested in Romania over illegal drug possession charge. Not a great place to get arrested for drugs. Yeah. If you're doing a tour in Romania, don't bring your drugs, would be the motto there. Dallas Cowboy cheerleader Reese and hopefuls Carly and Kelly talk surreal American sweetheart journey. So I guess they're doing a show about Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Good. Sounds like a good show to watch without the sound. Alex Ogle. Charlize was hot, but she went mad exactly as she stopped being able to trade off her looks. And you misspelled Charlize 3 times. No, 2 times. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know what her deal is. She's weird. I think she's an example of someone I think who's sort of a victim of feminism. Alex, too much wacky after the England toss. Too much whiskey. Oh, too much whiskey after the England loss. Oh. Bleach Demon. She doesn't deserve spelling corrections. Yeah, like Charlize Theron was one of those hot chicks. I was like, ooh, I'd want to date her. And then I heard about her personal life, and then I think, oh, God. So she was complaining that she couldn't find a man to marry her, and she adopted kids on her own. And it's like, you're worth tens of millions of dollars. First off, the guy that would have to marry you would have to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars just for you to be like, into him. So guys who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, they don't want some 40-year-old, hot as you are, with 2 kids. No, if I had hundreds of millions of dollars, I would be with the hottest chicks in there. I'd be like on a Leonardo DiCaprio plan. I'd be like, each one would be hotter than the next. And then I'd say, okay, you seem healthy. Let's have kids. Here's the prenup. But no one in that caliber is going to pick Charlize Theron. Like maybe an 80-year-old guy might. But she wouldn't want that. So, what she should do is get herself some handyman, some muscular handyman to take care of her, and you can take care of him with all your money. But like, it doesn't work that way for women. You got to take care of them. So if you can't do that, it's not going to work. I mean, it might work for a while, but Alex Ogle. Guys worth 10 times Charlize's wouldn't touch that ball of mental health issues. Yeah, and she said some wacky things. One of the things she said, and Carl over at the Lotus Eaters talked about this, she told the story of how she was in love with some guy when she was like in her 20s, hiking around Europe, and could have been with him and married him or whatever, but then she decided she wanted to go out in the real world and do all these things, and she had a great time, and she partied and had tons of sex and tons of boyfriends and whatever. Now she's in her 40s and kind of regrets that, basically. Like, she didn't say she regretted it, but it was like implied she kind of regretted it. And it's like, yeah, you should have married that dude if he loved you and you loved him. Like, you gave it all up just to gallivant around Europe and bang a bunch of dudes. Like, when a guy gallivants around Europe to bang a bunch of girls, that's a little different. It's not a great choice, but guys are more wired for it. When a girl does it, it's like, first off, it's easy. You can bang anybody you want looking like you, Charlize Theron. But, you know, now you're kind of all banged out. Bleach Demon. I offered Charlize my number, but she didn't like my dowry demands. Alex, at Bleach Demon. Her father pays the dowry. Oh, that's right. She pays you. Because you're going to have to deal with her. So, yeah. Now, I don't know. Who the hell knows how that's going to end up? Probably not good. Here's something I read this the other day, and I'm just like flummoxed. Bleach Demon, that was part of the problem. At Alex, she was broke by comparison. Paramount lands erotic thriller script over asking from Batwoman showrunner Caroline Dries. Imagine bragging about this. Batwoman. The Batwoman show? The showrunner from Batwoman. You landed her script? Oh, it must have been quite a bidding war for this woman who worked on Batwoman? Jesus, dude. What next? A fight over somebody from the Alkalite who wrote a screenplay? Like, why would you even take a script? Why would you even take her call? Oh, you worked on Batwoman? Yeah, he's busy. He can't talk to you, honey. Try back in another 100 years. Try back when you worked on something that anyone will watch. Oh, but I guess it's a woman, so that's Hollywood. Well, we don't have enough women. Get me a woman on the phone who wrote a script, and we'll make a big announcement about it. I mean, why would you? I mean, maybe it's good, but what an announcement. Bleach Demon. Wait, an erotic thriller by a dry woman? That comedy writes itself. Bleach Demon. Over asking. That doesn't even sound like an erotic thriller. Over asking, it sounds like a comedy. Yeah, I was over asking, and now I don't know what to do. You know, like an erotic thriller is like Fatal Attraction, Deadly Sexy, like stuff like that. Not over asking. Sounds like a Seinfeld bit. Oh, you did some over asking. Oh, you shouldn't have done the over asking. You did the over ask, over under. Doing a lot of impersonations tonight. Alex Ogle at Bleach Demon. I'll write the screenplay with Sydney Sweeney as the woman with the mop. Excellent. Have it on my desk by Tuesday. LOL at Alex, says Bleach Demon. Checking over at Bounding in the Comics. The rumor is Marvel is casting race swapping Booster Gold with Kumail Nanjiani, this dude from the Eternals. So now Booster Gold. Now this is just a rumor. I don't know how true it is. There's a bit of back and forth about this. Yeah, it's like Booster Gold is two things. He's blonde and he's a superhero. Like, are you gonna make his hair blonde? then maybe. I mean, maybe he could do it if you just dye his hair and his eyebrows blonde. But, and then, you know, I don't know. I don't know what you could do about his 5 o'clock shadow. But Booster Gold, he has blonde hair because he's Booster Gold. Like his color scheme is blue and yellow. And so his hair goes with that. You cast this dude and you put him in the uniform, it's not going to look right. It's just not. It just looks completely wrong. And you know, he's in shape for it. He could certainly be a superhero, but he was also in the failed Eternals movie. Like, why are you casting him as this? He doesn't seem funny anymore. This guy initially was kind of funny. He was on an episode of Archer where he's funny, but now he's got a bit of TDS. Alex Ogle, at least Doctor Who is over for now, and the Alkalite is over soon. Any predictions for the last episode? It'll be terrible, would be my prediction. The details, I don't know. I haven't watched a single, you know, episode. I just watched clips and I watched commentary on it. I think it'll just be terrible. I don't know if it could be more terrible than what already came before, but they already did the big revelation in episode 7 was my understanding. But maybe they'll do something even dumber and somehow make the Jedis, I don't know, Satan worshipping lesbians and then make them trans people too. Maybe they'll do something like that. Like they jammed some transgender stuff in yet? Indie Phantom. I saw Longlegs, by the way. Okay, but Cage is ridiculous and it's not scary. Yeah, that's a shame. Now I don't want to say it. Jesus. Let me ask you this. Is it more ridiculous than Mandy? If you've ever seen Mandy. Indie Phantom. TDS patients have jumped the shark. Remember when only Spike Lee was nuts? Yeah, and Spike Lee was nuts in a very specific way. Like he was super into being black. And that was a nuts that was like okay. You know, he had a chip on his shoulders about various things. And that was fine. Now by comparison, he's moderate. And Spike was actually very nice to me, so I'm not going to badmouth him. He sent me a nice letter once when I pitched a script to him. And he sent me a very nice, encouraging letter, I have to say. Indie Phantom, I have not seen Mandy. Oh, you got to see Mandy. Mandy's crazy. Nick Cage is just nuts in that. He's kind of the good guy in that. That's the one. I don't know if you've ever seen Critical Drinker shows like a clip of it every once in a while where Nick Cage screams and he's in his underwear. He's got a shirt on, but he doesn't have pants on. He's in his underwear and he's holding a bottle and he's all bloody and he goes, ah! That's from Mandy. It's a pretty nutso movie. But this movie, I mean, I don't even know why they're making it, quite frankly. If you're going to make Booster Gold and you're not going to have Blue Beetle in it and make it a buddy comedy movie, I don't even know why you're making it, quite honest. You think you're going to make a serious Booster Gold movie? This comic was never serious. So, it just looks, you know, the only part of Booster Gold that worked for me was that he was kind of a failed superhero and kind of low on the totem pole along with Blue Beetle, and they became buddies and it became kind of a sitcom almost. Sam Rogers is back. How was your breakfast? Indie Phantom, a weird thing is that they try this makeup on Cage and have Cage basically singing songs and acting a bit like Jared Leto unhinged. Oh, weird. Alex Ogle. I bet that's why they didn't show him in the trailer. Because he's probably got way too much makeup on or something, or it's weird. Alex Ogle, I could not care less about anything from Disney and refused to pay for Disney Plus. Good for you. This is a DC character, though. It's DCU. Indie Phantom. I like some of the early Spike Lee movies, but I couldn't do it now. Yeah, I don't even know what he's doing now. I haven't heard about a Lee movie in ages. He's kind of made his money. But yeah, Booster Gold is a DC guy, so he was in the Justice League for a time, and it was him and Blue Beetle, and they had two other characters named Fire and Ice who were like their girlfriends. There's no way they're gonna do that in this movie. I mean, they're starting with a Booster Gold. It's just not an IP even worth mentioning. That they're gonna try to develop a movie around the guy who's completely wrong for it, essentially, unless they really put a bunch of makeup on, and I guarantee you they won't. They're going to say, oh, no, he's going to be Booster Gold, and you will like it. Great. Indie Phantom. Cage looks like a crazy cat lady with botched plastic surgery. Oh, weird. Sam Rogers. I just don't care about anything Marvel and DC put out anymore. Yeah, I don't bet. I don't blame you. Indie Phantom in long legs. Weird. Yeah, I don't blame you for... I mean... Alex Ogle at Sam Rogers. Yeah, they're making a Blue Beetle cartoon based on the other Blue Beetle. It's the wrong character. I mean, it's who cares? Is right. That's when they're really in their death throes. When you have apathy towards these IPs, you're really in trouble because no one will see them then. Like literally no one. You're talking like you might as well have made anything else. And you're going to sell it on the basis of what? Oh, the basis of the fan base? Well, they're so apathetic, they're definitely not coming to see it. So now you have to rely on total normies to know who the hell Booster Gold is. It's not going to work. Sam Rogers. Isn't he a time traveler or something else? He has a robot assistant. Yeah, he's from the future. And he was rich, and he basically bought all his gadgets and then traveled back in time to be a superhero. Indie Phantom. Spike had 2 woke flicks nominated for Best Picture over the past few years. Not that anyone cares. One for Netflix. Oh, I don't even remember. Alex Ogle. I confess that I think that superheroes are a deceased genre until they come up with some much more interesting novel stories. Comics needs to rest for a little while. Yeah, I mean, it's just... all of Hollywood is just so effed up. Like, the idea that the superhero genre is going to save it is... I mean, forget it. Everything that was fan-oriented is being cannibalized because... and this goes back to my theory of the atomization of fans. They did dramas and comedies, and now there's so much content, there's no one's a big enough draw to make those movies even worth it. But for fantasy, zombies, and some of these niche audiences, there was a big enough fan base established that you could rely on. And then they started tapping into that with The Walking Dead and a few others. But now they've tapped out of that because the OG fans are saying no to this. Indie Phantom, The Five Bloods, and Black Klansman. Oh, that... I don't remember the first one, but the Black Klansman I remember. That got nominated? So, you have just too many IPs and too much stuff now. It's all been developed. Basically, they've exploited it all and squeezed every dollar out of it. In Indie Phantom, Nosferatu looks flipping boring as F. Yeah, I mean, and it's... I don't know why they're remaking it, but could be good if they went back to the sort of classic silent movie. And I mean, the silent movie, they actually had painters paint the set, like real painters, like guys who were making their living as painters painted the set, and that was part of the appeal. I forget what era that was. I mean, it was like 100 years ago. I want to say Impressionist. I don't know if that's correct. And and they painted the set. So it was this idea that, like, oh, you got to go see it because you're going to get a piece of art within a piece of art kind of thing. Like, if they did something like that, it could be cool, but I don't think they're doing anything like that. I think they're just making another Nosferatu movie. They jumped the shark with almost everything, says Indie Phantom. I agree. I mean, they just beat it to death and squeeze every dollar out of it until it's a friggin' empty husk, and then they throw it aside and move on to the next thing. But unfortunately, they're so big and they waste so much money, it takes them forever to get the message. So, like, the message is already there. Superheroes are mostly done. You should pull way back. And they've sort of done that, but not really. DC is moving forward like, oh, we're going to pick up the torch, and now we'll do the superhero movies. Now that Disney's done wrecking them all, we'll do our superhero movies and take all those audience members. Yeah, I get, maybe you get half of them, but I don't think that's enough of an audience now. Alex Ogle, if you can play this, then please do. It is safe for the stream. It describes what's wrong with games, but also films. Okay. Can you put the link? You probably can't put the link up. I'm not sure if you can. Moving on to... Oops, sorry. Yeah, the link doesn't show up. I think I have to make you an admin or something. Add you as a mod. And hide or put users in timeout. Is that it? Is that what I want to do? Yeah, I'll make it a standard mod. There you go. Maybe that'll let you to do something. That'll let you do something. Alex, the link, even though it's YouTube, didn't work. Yeah. Yeah, I made you a mod. Maybe you can do something now. All right. Looking at Deadline. Is anything going on here? NBC sit down Monday now at White House. Oh boy. Oval Office address tonight. What time is it? 9:30? Was that tonight? He did another speech? God, they keep putting Biden out there. Sam Rogers. Takes like 5 years to make a movie, right? Oh, there we go. Now it popped up. Let's see. Oh, I did this wrong. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Do this right. Wait a minute. Did I lose you guys? I may have just lost you guys. Damn it. Screwed this up. I screwed this up. Hold on. I screwed up. Give me a sec here. I gotta get back into my channel. I gotta get back into my channel. I shut the wrong thing. Hold on. Okay. Get back in there. This is what happens. Sorry. If I go live, I'm already live. I don't want to go live again. There we go. There we go. Sorry. I fixed it. Okay, live chat. Indie Phantom, you're still on. Or Alex Ogle, you're still on. I'll try to use my superpowers for positive effects. Thank you, Alex. Indie Phantom, the Biden address was awful. He mentioned January 6th and Nancy Pelosi's husband getting hammered. All right, here it is. All right, I don't think I can play this. I'll put the captions on. Can I put the captions on? It's got music underneath it. I know they'll flag me for that.
Incredibly entertaining. The
Oh.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, written by Douglas Adams, is still possibly the funniest game ever made. Honestly, the point-and-click adventure, such as the excellent Monkey Island here, is another great lost gaming genre. Traditional computer adventure games, which are basically...
Yeah, I don't think I can play this because I'll watch it later, but I don't think I could play it because there is some music in the background. Sorry. All right, let me get this off of here. There we go. Sorry. Sorry, adjusting again. Boom. And boom. Okay. But thank you for that link. All right. So, the Biden address was awful. I said this before, Indie Phantom. Mentioned January 6th and Nancy Pelosi's husband getting hammered. Yeah, they're trying to do this thing where they're like equating, like, we've been victims too. See, it wasn't only Trump who was the victims of these people. Like, we had nothing to do with it. These people, these crazy people, we were victims too. See, Nancy Pelosi's husband, who's totally not gay, had a guy break into the house who he's never had sex with and hit him with a hammer. I mean, that happens all the time, right? That's the rumor, is somehow they're connected. But I don't know. Alex Ogle, okay, well, others, please save it for watching. It's about how people appear to have stopped reading books, and that is to the detriment of storytelling. That I can totally tell you is true, right? It's very hard for me to sell books. But here's the thing. It already happened to books 30 years ago. About 30 years ago, the book publishing market leaned heavily, and I mean heavily, into the women's market. Sam Rogers, I would like to see the pulp be turned into movies, but I suspect it would be woke. Well, they had the Shadow movie with Alec Baldwin. It's not great. But about 30 years ago, the book publishing industry leaned heavily into the female market. And when that happened, they stopped publishing a lot of books for men. Now, the men books were paperbacks, and they were short, and they were terse. They were the James Bond novels. They were things like Mac Bolan, The Executioner, and other action-oriented books. Typically very simple, straightforward stories about action guys doing action things. But they got out of that market because when they turned to the female market, they were making more money. And what happened was, slowly over a period of time, or maybe not so slowly, women took over publishing. So they became the editors, and they were already in it, but now, since they were publishing for women, they wanted even more women. And they completely took over the book publishing industry. It's like hard to find people who aren't women in the book publishing industry, in the mechanisms of it. Not the writers, I'm talking the people who publish the books and edit them and do other things like that. So because it became all women, they were making money, it was fine for a while. But then at some point they said, we want the men to come back. Why don't men read our books? And so they started hiring guys like me to ghostwrite books, ostensibly for men, to recapture the male audience. And I did. But the problem was, everybody I worked with was a woman. And every time I wrote something and handed it to them, they said, oh, this is so crisp and vulgar and choppy. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what men want from their stories. And I've talked about this before, and I won't go too crazy on it. Alex Ogle, could I drag this stream down a bit and say the image of Trump defiant under the waving flag was an image even Hollywood couldn't conjure? Yes, I agree with you. We were looking at that earlier. Let's see if it's here. I bet it's not anywhere on this site. No, it's not going to be anywhere here. So, long story longer, I wrote some stuff and I handed it to the women, and then I was on a 4-way call with the women trying to defend what I'd written. And it wasn't that I wrote something bad, it's just they didn't like it. And all their suggestions were for more female-oriented sort of consume of story. So they wanted more description. And they wanted more, they wanted some erotic elements for men. And I first said, no, men don't want that in their stories. And they were like, no, we want that in the story. I said, okay, but you want it for men, right? And they were like, yes. So I gave them the equivalent of erotic stuff for men, which you could imagine was descriptions of some dude banging a super hot chick, but the only description was of what the chick looked like, right? And then it was all about the action. It wasn't about the the wind up, because guys don't want foreplay, women do. Guys are ready to go like that. But they didn't understand that, and I kept telling them this is what guys want. And they're like, no, 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 no. They want teasing and romance too. And I was like, no, they don't. You don't know what you're talking about. I was literally the only man on the phone call, and they were telling me what men like. I go, this is why you're not selling anything. This is why your books are failing to attract a male audience. And of course, they went ahead and published it, and probably mostly women bought the damn thing. I don't know. But this is the state of book publishing, and it's been that way for at least a couple of decades. And because of that, men don't read, because there's nothing for them to read. They, on the odd chance they pick up a book, they're going to pick up a nonfiction book, because they know that nonfiction book is going to get to the damn point. It's not a narrative, but they'll read it because they want to learn something. They'll read history books and stuff like that. They'll read a very select group of authors they know will write for men. A lot of them are alternate history stuff tends to appeal to men more than it does women, if you really get down into dirty details, especially like war related stuff, like World War II stuff. So that stuff is still aimed at men, but it's a very tiny audience, and you don't see the book publishers ever pushing it, because again, all their money's coming from the women, and women read ravenously, and they read a ton of smut, and a ton of fantasy. And what they want when you write for women is completely the opposite. They want long ass descriptions of everything, the clothes and how they're feeling and the relationships, and they want build up and build up and build up, and very little, and some sex, but very little of it. And then finally something happens, and then finally something happens at the end. That's not how men want. Men want to see a guy do stuff in the first chapter. They want to see him accomplish things chapter after chapter, and by the end of it, he's done like a million things. So that is why men don't read books. Why women don't read books? Some of them just don't read books because they don't like smut, and a lot of them are very smutty. So, all right, moving on. Oh, this was interesting. Tim Robbins condemns those comparing Trump assassination attempt to Bob Roberts' deranged mindset. If you haven't seen the movie Bob Roberts, it was pretty good, and it starred Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins being one of the few honest liberals in Hollywood. I wouldn't say he's based, but he at least he's not woke. He sort of realized that things have been going sideways for a while, but they are basically pushing him out, politically. So you should check out Bob Roberts. It's a good movie. It was very political at the time, but it was very interesting. Basically, it was about a presidential candidate who used folksy music to woo people over. And the idea was kind of that you could one day have this very charismatic guy who would push all the right buttons and, make his way to the top if you weren't careful, kind of thing. Alex Ogle, Tony D, Mills and Boone novel, look it up. A Tony D. Mills and Boone novel, look it up. Tony entered the kitchen, where the floor was soaking with the gushing water. Can you plug it? Asked Sidney Sweeney. We'll see, baby, he replied. That's funny. Oh, Bill Maher, my ex-boss, has weighed in on the Trump shooting. Oh, I got to see this. The shooter has done so much damage to the left. Excuse me, Bill, but he did shoot Trump. Remember him? I unequivocally denounced the shooting. I think I saw this video. I don't care what you think about that. Not funny. I'm sure there will be jokes people will make because they hate him so much and they wished it went the other way. Not for me. Well, good for you, ex-boss of mine. When I saw the photo today of him with blood streaming down his face, I don't want to say the election's over, but anything can happen in an election. But Jesus Christ, MAGA Nation finally has its full martyr. They loved it when he went to jail. The mugshot, I gotta say, he's insane and a criminal, but that mugshot effing nailed it. And he reacted to the shooting like he rehearsed it. Take one. There will be an idiot conspiracy theories who will say, oh, they planned it. He gets grazed by the other, and the other guy gets killed. That's so Trump. It's going to work for him. I can see the memes now. The man the libtards couldn't kill. Biden can't get through a debate, and a bullet can't stop Donald Trump. It almost doesn't matter who the Democrats put up now. Correct. Alex Ogle, Bill Maher is like one of those Soviet news broadcasters. Yeah, he's not quite that bad, but he's got TDS. Oh, he's got TDS. He hates Trump. But at least he'll acknowledge his side's own mistakes at times. The guys who are really Soviet are like Jon Stewart now. Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert. Oh my God, Stephen Colbert is embarrassing, I think. Sam Rogers, men are not women. What a novel concept. Zevek's demise, early November surprise. Oh, God. I hope the surprise is Trump won by all 50 states. Alex Ogle, better claim copyright at Sam Rogers. Sam Rogers, although the modern left think men and women are blank slates. Yes, they do, to a certain extent. Let's see. Oh, I got to go back. Okay. Can't get away from the assassination attempt, that's for sure. It's everywhere, even in Hollywood. Matthew McConaughey tells governors he's still weighing political future. You don't have one. Yeah, for about 5 minutes there, he looked pretty reasonable, and then he kept talking. And then it was just like, oh, no. No. Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. Maybe in 10 years, after everybody forgot the stupid things he said the first time, if he figures out a political position. I don't even think he really wants to do it. I think The Rock wants to do it. I think The Rock would run for office. In 10 years, he may not even have a career, and he may very well do it. Zevek's demise. It's really the only news this weekend. Yeah. It really is. It's just consumed everything. Oh, but this was a big story in the beginning of the week before this all happened. Skydance merged with Paramount. Or bought it. I'm not sure which. So Star Trek may get a makeover. So Kurtzman's probably going to be out. I don't know. This could make it worse. I don't know what Skydance really is, but they could really make it bad. Let's see. Apparently Disney got hacked. Oh, this is new. When did this drop? Today. Disney breached. Hacktivist group claims leak of 1 terabyte of Disney's internal Slack. Well, that doesn't bode well. Zevek's demise. So long, Redstone family? Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not like they were running it very well. Paramount, I think, owns CBS, the old person's network. Everything there just seems so boring. And for old people. The Wrap. Here's a guy who died at 59. Evan Wright, Generation Kill journalist and TV writer. Too old, said the 58-year-old. Richard Simmons died too. So Sharon Doherty and Richard Simmons both dead. That was another surprise too. He just had a birthday. He just turned 76 and now boom, dead. Live life to the fullest. You never know when it's lights out, baby. You never know. LinkedIn. Oh, here's another one. Alex Ogle, Tony, the other half, Tony, other than Little Joan being cast as the bestest doggo hero, is there any hope for a forthcoming year? There's tons of hope. I think Trump's going to win. They may try to go at him again, but I don't think it's going to work. I think they have to start over their plans, or they may just finally say, okay, he's going to win. Let's concentrate on making sure he doesn't have Congress, let's say. Alex Ogle, Doherty and Simmons were quite the losses. Actually, I was surprised they were still alive. Well, Richard Simmons sort of disappeared from public life. Sharon Doherty popped up from time to time, mostly because of her cancer and her divorce, but here's another one. LinkedIn founder Charles Quip wishing he made Trump a martyr? Oh, he clarifies Quip wishing he made Trump a martyr. Yeah, I bet you better clarify that. See, a lot of people are going to be deleting a lot of tweets and clarifying their statements. And I think people on the left are finally stepping back from the brink. So I really don't think the deep state is going to pursue this anymore. You never know, but it's again, a lot of it rides on who he picks for a VP. Once he picks that VP, then then they have two Trumps to deal with, whoever that is. Alex Ogle, Doherty was hot. It's a shame how women age. Well, I don't know. I think they age. Some age gracefully, some don't. They say like Spanish and Italian women, they're like unbelievably hot in their 20s, and then they just sort of hit the wall and never come back and turn into like grannies by the time they're 40. It just depends on your genes, really. And then some women are just timeless. I mean, you look at Linda Carter was hot for like 20 to like, I'll say about 70. She was still pretty hot at 70. It's only very recently, I think she's like 75. She's finally starting to show it. Donna D'Errico, super hot. Back in the Baywatch days, she's like 50 something. She looks good. She's doing OnlyFans. She looks good. Now I'm sure she's gotten some work done and she uses tons of makeup and everything, but still, she's fit. I mean, I'm 58. I've been with some women who are in my age range who are still pretty hot. But it's also too, like, I'm that age too, so I don't want some 22-year-old stripper. What are you trying to kill me? I mean, if I was a billionaire, maybe I would, and I don't know, get some of that Simpsons. Mr. Burns got the special injection that allowed him to. Was something. What was it? It was like essence of like albino rhino horn or something that allowed him to finally, have sex with this younger woman. Yeah, I just, that's like a fantasy. And the reality is you want somebody in your age range so you can have something to talk about. You don't want somebody so far. I mean, like someone in their 20s to me, it's like a kid. What do we even have to talk about? Nothing. Music conversation's gonna be. I don't want to have to go out at 4 a.m. drinking. Alex Ogle, in terms of Cliff, I find Asian women hit the wall hard. Really? Now, see, a lot of them I've seen last really good. I mean, they always look about 10 years younger. I find Asian women hit the wall hard. Mediterranean women can tell when they're going over the edge. The biggest shork was seeing Tom Cruise at Wimbledon today. He looked trampish. Oh, the biggest shock. Trampish. Tom Cruise is finally starting to show his age. But he kept it going as long as he could. But now he's got to play different roles. And he should. Come on, the guy's like 60, I think. You know? Just play different roles. Doesn't mean he can't be a leading man, I think. But, you know, and it's Hollywood. But he's still a name. He's still a guy, you put him in a movie, people are going to go see it. He's a big enough draw. Just on name recognitions alone. So he's had some flops, but he's still a big enough draw that people will just go see it just because he's in it. And there's no one left like that. He's like the last movie star. That's it. It's Tom Cruise and no one else. The women, they run their, you know, Sydney Sweeney looks great now. 20 years, it'll be somebody else. You know, that's it. It's Tom Cruise and nobody else. Nobody else. And then Hollywood did that. Hollywood ruined the celebrities by making them do too much. Alex Ogle, he had a good run, but now he looks like he drinks virgin's blood. Yeah, he doesn't want to go down the Sylvester Stallone route. Sylvester Stallone sort of looks odd sometimes. Like in Expendables, he looks odd. His face is all swollen and weird. He's like old, but he's muscular. Now that he's playing like, you know, now I don't watch Tulsa King, but he looks normal in Tulsa King. He looks like a guy who looks that way. You know, he looks normal-ish. And he's, you know, again, like a lot of these guys, you know, it's all about the money, you know. They get to that level and, you know, $20 million seems a lot like for you and me, like more than enough money that we could ever spend. But when you've been living that, these guys have been living that life for decades. $20 million goes pretty fast when you're blowing through it. And you've got God knows how many side hustles these guys are funding or doing or whatever. I mean, the staff. I mean, they both have a staff. Think about that. Like you have a staff of people. Basically servants, right? And I'm sure you've got, you know, in the old days it would have been butler, maid, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, sure, he's got like maids, butler, the equivalent of a butler, a personal assistant. That's your butler. That's the new butler. Lawyer. You gotta have a lawyer. Like literally, like a guy like Cruise has to have his own lawyer, at least one. You know, he's gonna have a manager. Probably a guy to run his house and his businesses. I mean, and that's the whole point. Like when you have that much money, it's like it's all about your time. Now you just want to hire all these people so you could do nothing but have fun or whatever you do, whatever your fun is. For Cruise, I think it's work. You want to be able to do that as much as you can. Like you don't want to be bothered by, like I would do the same thing. You know, a big thing. Alex, Sydney Sweeney will age like fine milk, but she's in the refrigerator for now. Like if I had that kind of money, I've just my first instinct would be to write and have some free time, but eventually I would get used to that and then I'd start doing other stuff. I'd probably be doing a bunch of projects for South Jersey. Oh my God, I always think of them when I'm driving around. I think, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if I had millions of dollars and I could just fund the historical society if they're in trouble? I'd be so into that. I'd be like, let me give you a check. Here you go. Now you're good for a year. Now get your act together. Which of course wouldn't work, and somebody would embezzle the money, and then I'd be back again. Or I'd create some sort of foundation with a network of South Jersey historical societies, or I don't know. I got a lot of ideas. Or I'll save farms. I'd save the blueberry farms from development. I had a vision the other day. I was driving by these warehouses they keep building down here, and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool? I just come in and buy that warehouse and then tear it down and turn it back into a big field. Be awesome. Be awesome. Let's see if there's anything on the wrap I didn't talk about. I think it's all the same stuff. Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop soars up the streaming chart, but it can't beat The House of Dragon. Yeah, I heard it wasn't that great. Axel F. Same thing with The Boys. Oh, forgot about Alec Baldwin. Boy, he must have been happy about what happened to Trump. Oh, he must have been happy as a clam that it knocked him off the front page and everybody will forget about his thing. Alex Ogle, at least you realize the money would be invested with good intent but wasted by corruption. Yeah, well, hopefully it wouldn't, but you never know. I can't believe Alec Baldwin got off. I can't believe it. I thought for sure they would at least give him a slap on the wrist and say, well, you screwed up. And look, I don't think he deserves much more than that. I don't think putting him in prison makes any sense. I would fine him, just make him annoyed. Just annoy him with some kind of something. But that he's crying in court, and I'm just like, you were only facing 18 months, dude. Only 18 months. He's still going to be sued by everybody under the red sun, I think. He's definitely being sued by the widower. I think he'll eventually be sued by the investors, and I think he'll be sued by the crew, too, because there was a big kerfuffle with that. That doesn't have much to do with the shooting, but I think they're going to sue him. I think everybody's going to sue him. Alex Ogle, what the hell happened with Baldwin? Did he act his way out of in Team America? Oh, did he act his way out like in Team America? No, he just has a lot of money, right? And my theory has always been you get the justice you could pay for. So what I read, and a friend of mine followed this pretty closely, and we were talking about it. The prosecutors forgot to inventory some bullets that were entered in as evidence. And because of that, the judge threw the case out. And with prejudice, meaning he cannot be retried for it. They also said he can only be tried as an actor on the movie, not as a producer, which I think is very wrong. But like when you have a giant bankroll like Alec Baldwin and you just keep throwing at your lawyers and say, get me the F out of here, they'll pull out every trick in the book and they'll grind this to a halt. They'll make the state re-look at everything, and any mistake they make, they're going to catch. Which is good if you have money and you're innocent. Alex, did he sing AIDS to Everpone? Oh, is that from Team America? I don't remember. So, Russ prosecutor who quit says undisclosed bullets led to her decision. Something went horribly wrong here. Yeah, I think it was probably a setup. Because the guy who brought in the bullets was a retired cop. Now, I'm just speculating here. I don't know this or anything. But it sounds to me like if you really had the money. Like, remember in Breaking Bad, when the cops had to bust somebody for the blue crystal meth, they paid a guy, like in the story, they paid a guy to take the fall and go to prison. And they gave him a bunch of money, and his family got it, and then he went to prison for the meth in order to save one of the other characters. I forget the exact thing. So I feel like it's something like that, maybe. Or not. I mean, it could have just been that he got lucky and the judge just said, oh, yeah, I agree with you. Could have been that they somehow, I don't know, got to the judge. I don't know. There's no evidence of that. I'm just speculating, but I don't think it's fair. I think they certainly could have retried it, but maybe that was the strategy. Just keep making them retry and retry and retry it until finally the state's like, listen, we're spending millions of dollars on this thing and this guy ain't going to jail. And really, how guilty is he? Again, not that guilty. Yeah, he never should have pointed it at her, but he wasn't responsible for guns on the set. The armorer was. So it was stupid for him to point it at anybody, but, if you handed me a gun and told me it was loaded with blanks, I wouldn't know the difference between the blanks and the bullets. So, but I do think it's unfair that but he'll get sued anyway, which is worse for him because it'll be, I think he's going to still lose millions of dollars, but because he hasn't been convicted of anything, his lawyers are going to argue, well, he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's innocent. Leave him alone. So, who knows? Maybe he won't lose any money then, but certainly the widower deserves something. Alex should just pay him off. But I don't know, man. It's a bad scene all around. I'll tell you this: who the hell would work with him again? If you were in Hollywood, would you work with Alec Baldwin on any movie? I wouldn't. No. But we'll see what happens. There's a few movies that are coming out that he's in. I don't know when they were shot, though. There's a new one. I forget what it was called. He's not like the big honcho in it. I think this is the end of his career, mostly. But it seems unfair to me. But that's just my opinion. And finally, over at Cosmic Book News, Disney hack reveals Disney shut down Jeremy Renner app, not online trolls. Jeremy Renner has an app? For what? The Acolyte falls off Samba TV ratings charts with episode 6, big dip in lightsaber episode. Yeah, I guess so. Everybody seems to hate that show. The new Captain America trailer dropped this week. That does not look good. I don't know. I don't know if they can save this movie. I mean, I think they reshot it 3 or 4 times. The rumor is it cost $375 million. I don't see how they're going to make that money. Oh. Hold on. Every time I do a live stream on live stream, so I don't see how they can make this movie good. Captain America. It has nothing to do with Anthony Mackie. I like Anthony Mackie, but after he got preachy in the TV series, it was kind of downhill from there. It's just part of the wokeification of the MCU. So I don't think that's going to be any good. I think that sounds like it's going to be another dumpster fire. But is it okay by Disney? I mean, they just made $1.3 billion with Inside Out, so you got to figure out of that they probably made $1 billion in profit, and now they got to hide it. So they could hide a lot of losses in Captain America. So maybe they don't care that it tanks. Zack Snyder shows off new Henry Cavill image from Man of Steel. What the hell, man? Will this guy not let sleeping dogs lie? Still talking about his damn movies? Okay, whatever. If you're out in California, Marvel Studios Comic-Con confirmed for Saturday. Kevin Feige is attending the comics panel. It runs from July 25th to 28th. The preview night is 24th. I've been to Comic-Con San Diego. It's very expensive to do. I managed to do it on the cheap for a couple of years. One time I didn't have a hotel room, and that was a huge problem. Yeah, it's so crowded. It's so insanely crowded. At least the years I did it. You can't move from your table at all. It's very tough. And then you're there all day, and that's when I discovered, doing a show that big, as a single creator, it's not worth it, because you can't see more people than you can at a regular crowded show. You just can't. You can only talk to so many people. I mean, there are people walking by, and maybe they see you too, and there's slightly more of them, but Do you remember the people you just walked past? You usually don't. It's just, as a single creator, Comic-Con is too expensive, and to me, it's not worth doing. Which is a shame, because a lot of people love to do it, but really they love to attend it more than anything else. Now, for networking, it can work out if you get invited to the right parties or whatever, but there's so much intrigue going on behind the scenes. I don't know. Me and my cohorts never really gotten invited to anything good when I was in San Diego. But a couple of times we made out pretty good when I had like a crew and a decent sized table and a publisher behind me. But it's tough. It's tough to work Comic-Con. Would I go back? If I had a big publisher, or a publisher that was willing to front me the money and I didn't have to do the work. If I could go to Comic-Con and be just a guest, like a real guest, sure, I'd go again. I don't know how I'd get there because I'm really against getting on planes anymore, but maybe I'd take a train, go out there, spend a week traveling. But yeah, it's a crazy show to do. I think we're just about done here. I mean, the panels aren't that great to me. They used to be kind of cool, but now there's, they're all designed to just advertise. Every once in a while, somebody super cool does one, but how many panel discussions on oh, this year in Marvel Comics we're doing something new. It's not that great to me. But if you get to go to some cool parties, it's not bad. All right, I think it's time to wrap up here. I'm out of iced tea. Oh, one last. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned Donald Trump is the luckiest SOB on the face of God's green earth. That's for sure. He has Hemingway levels of luck. And thank God he does. Zemek's demise. As long as the train doesn't go through East Palestine. Yes. Oh, God. I'd lose my damn mind if that happened here. I'm not far from a train either. The train tracks, and there are trains that go through my neighborhood. Alex Ogle, I wish comics would stop doing new things for a little while. I could fix comics like that. A lot of people could, but they don't want to make comics is the problem. That's the main problem. They don't want to make comics. If they did, they would completely revamp them and make a business model that would make money. They don't have one. They don't care about making money, in my view. They just kept the old system, and it doesn't really work, and they don't really make any money, but they don't care. Alex Ogle, DJT isn't lucky, he's a superhero. I could look at it that way. Somebody should do like a video with Trump during the attempted assassination where he's like secretly Superman and he grabs the bullet out of the air. That would be cool. Where he slaps it and it bounces off his ear or something. Be cool. Yeah, I mean, I was saying the other day, I wanted to write the third installment of the, I did Wokistan, a novel, and then Hollywoke. I have a third novel in mind that takes place in Washington, D.C., but I just can't do it yet. I mean, there's just so many crazy things that happened. You can't even keep up. I can't even predict crazy anymore when it comes to woke people or leftists. There's just nothing else to predict other than, civil war maybe. But then that gets too dark. And it's just nuts. Every day is another adventure. May you live in interesting times is the old Chinese curse. And we are truly living in interesting times. I hope it doesn't get any more interesting. I think we had enough interesting times. I want to go back to winning I want to go back to Trump being president and winning, winning, winning all day long. Alex Ogle, God Emperor with his male custodes. Yeah, I just want him to. I want to spend 4 years in winning, 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 and then the GOP just steamrolling the Democrats at every possible level, and then hopefully his successor is just as based, and then I want another 8 years of that. Zevic's demise. Not sure you can write a crazier book than reality right now. I know. It's really tough. It would be really tough because I had a pitch, and the pitch was something like, because if you read the Wokistan novel or Hollywoke, the story is Trump got reelected for a second term. So I'd have to stick with that. And so the premise was going to be, it's the end of Trump's second term, and he has a like a stroke or something, and or he got shot. I don't know. It's something happens to him where he's not dead, but he's incapacitated to a degree, and he's hanging on. But after 8 years of Trump, the left has now built up another guy who's going to take over, and they're going to go full bore communism, was sort of the pitch. And but like, it doesn't even work now because these people are full bore communists. I mean, we're in the middle of a communist insurgency, in my view. Yeah, I know James Lindsay says it all the time, but I think it's really true. And in order to push back on that, we need to get Trump back in. That's step one. And we have to use all the legal means of our disposal. And it's there. It's just really boring. And you have to want your country back more than these leftists want to tear it down. And it's going to be really tough. It's going to be really tough. So, but step one is getting Trump back in the office. Step two, I don't even know. Hopefully getting the House and the Senate. Fortunately, the ally that we have is really people on the left, and their utter incompetence at everything they do. They're so arrogant and utterly incompetent, and they're suffering from what I would call a brain drain. As more people, and I had this theory with organized crime. So, like in an organized crime family, one of the reasons they had so many talented guys, made guys, back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, was that the made guys fell into the life of crime because they had to. They couldn't get real work, and some of them could, but a lot of them couldn't get real work. And the only place that provided a way to move up was through organized crime. So they would join these crime families because they saw it as a way to move up. And then the idea was they would move up and make lots of money, and their family wouldn't have to live a life of crime. So what happened, though, was the criminal families became so successful. When you get a few more generations in, you have guys who are expected to make money, but they're already rich. And so they either make little money, or the guys who, their kids, they don't enter in a life of crime because they don't need to, right? They have enough money, so there's no reason to do the crime. So the smart guys don't enter in a life of crime to begin with because they know how that ends. So then the opposite happens. The brain drain happens, and the crime family can't attract the talent that they were on as they were on the way up. So I think that's what's happening on the left. The talent is Alex. Step one is keeping Biden in as a Democrat nominee. I think they should impeach him or 25th him and then put Kamala in there. I don't think Kamala could do any damage in the few months she has left. And then it would be a done deal, but we'll see what happens. But as people wake up and get smarter and just realize, like, oh, these guys are a bunch of losers on the left. People just leave, and the talented people are going to leave. And you already see that. Who's left on the left? Who's super hardcore and enthusiastic? A bunch of idiots. You know, like Destiny. He's been all over the internet with these horrible, horrible takes, and he's getting absolutely blasted. Alex. Fur England, why did you have to lose and make me drink all that whiskey and make my typing so bad? Mind you, had we won, I'd be no better. Well, sorry to hear that. I'm sorry your sports ball game did not go well. But yeah, so they're suffering from the brain drain. They're losing all their best talent. There's just no reason for the talent to stay. So no new guys are going into the left. It's only guys they're paying off or are pathetic and desperate enough to want the money, right? So a lot of these paid guys on Twitter, they're not talented. They just want money. The moment that money runs out, they'll go off and do something else. So they're running out of money. They have no new talent. That's why everybody on the left is old. Everybody in the Democratic Party is old. And the young people they have are idiots. They've only been sucked in, either they wanted power, like AOC, I guess, or they got paid, and so they have no new talent. So it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. All the new, fresh talent is in the Republican side until inevitably the cycle will go the other way. But in the meantime, you know, they just can't. They can't stand up to it. They can't stand up to Trump. And that's why everything's so crazy on the left, because they control so much. So we have to de-crazy everything. Have to cancel some things, cancel the FBI, cancel the IRS, a few other things. But that's what I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Trump getting in and hopefully cleaning some house. There's only going to be so much he could do, so hopefully he does a lot. And then I hope the next guy coming up will be pretty talented. We'll see who he picks as VP. All right. So that concludes the stream at 10:20. What do I got coming up? Oh, first, I want to thank everybody who came out today to the Pirates and Mermaids event at Dragon Shops in Bridgeton, or Hopewell. Actually, it was technically at Hopewell, New Jersey. Technically, it turned out I was not supposed to do the show. I thought I was. I had it on my schedule. I showed up, and they gave me a space anyway, so it all worked out. I actually sold some books there, so that was good. Met a lot of new fans. It was blazing hot, though. I was, like, dying. But fortunately, I was plenty hydrated and had, like, a whole cooler of stuff. Speaking of which, I think I left the cooler in the car. Damn it. Next up, tomorrow, I'm doing an event at the Margaret Dombrowski Swedesboro Public Library at 6:30 p.m., and that will be my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. On Tuesday, I'm doing a podcast. I still don't have all the details, and she didn't send me those details, so I'm definitely doing it. And then something else on... What's that? Then I'm doing a senior center on July 18th in Cranberry, New Jersey. The Elms of Cranberry. That's a bit of a drive. Then on the weekend, I'm doing 2 events on Saturday. First, I'm doing Clements Farms from 10 to 4. Now, Clements Farms I did last year. It's a blueberry festival. And they were originally going to do this in June because last year it got so hot I nearly passed out, and like a lot of people didn't come because it was so damn hot. But they moved it to July, and now it's going to be super hot. And then later that same night, I'm going to Chimney Rustic Ales in Hamilton from 5 to 9 for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. This is also during the the Italian festival, which is going on in the middle of Hamilton. So I'm hoping the place will be packed with people. So it's going to be a crazy Saturday for me. I don't know when I'm going to eat dinner that day. So that's it. Joan, you want to say anything before I sign off? No? She's on the floor here. She don't want to sit there, but she's on the floor here. All right, I got to do some more videos. Thanks, guys, for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Slap a like on me when you get a chance, and we'll see you in the next one. If I could find the controls on this. I kind of screwed everything up. Where was... No, that's not it. Hold on. Oh, right. It's here. Duh. Oh, wait. One more movie pitch from Alex Ogle. Movie pitch. Pirates and Mermaids. There may be some pirates in it. I don't care. Sydney Sweeney is a mermaid in a bikini. Lots of close-ups. I like. Get that. Get a draft of that on my desk by Tuesday. Illustrations would help. Good night, all, says Alex. Good night, everybody. End stream. Zebek's demise. Sounds good to me, Alex.